Hello, everybody, and welcome to the NuWhoZone. And I've just realised I've put the wrong episode in. Right, well, there's nothing I can do about it right now. We'll have to change it. Let's see if I can change it now. Actually, it's probably right. So we're on the Crimson. No, we're not on the Crimson Tide. Sure, we are on Hyde. Now I'm getting confused. We are on Hyde because we did World War. We did the submarine one a couple of weeks ago. We are doing. It is Hyde, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it's Hyde. Oh, it is it's the Crimson Horror, is it? Oh. Right, I don't even know how I got that totally wrong. I'm all over the place. Sorry, man. There's just so much going on. Crimson Tide. Okay. Oh, the Crimson Horror. See, I can't even get the name of the fucking horror. Right. Right. Well, anyway, it's changed on YouTube, but for everybody on Facebook that's watching, obviously it's the wrong episode. So, like, when you come into the chat, you will realize that pretty quick. So there you go. Right. So then I've got the wrong DVD in. So here we go again. Right, I'm gonna bring me guests on, and then I'll just get this sorted. I don't know what's going on, man. Right, anyway, it's Queen Charlotte.
Hello, everybody. I was thinking that when you were talking, I was like, the Crimson Horror.
I don't know what's going on, man. Fucking, it's one of these weeks, man. I just want this week to be over now.
Hello, Lee. You're usually
hello.
Give me a second. You two just talk there for a minute.
Oh, I didn't realise I was on. All right. Hello. Yeah, I'm just sending out a new tweet saying, correction! Join us for the Crimson Horror.
Hello, Sheldon. Love, you're in the chat. Good to see you. See, I thought, because I was thinking, I'm sure you said as well, oh, I liked this one last week. When we were like, oh, it's the Crimson Horror.
Yeah, I forgot. I was like, hi. Hi. It's like, okay, hi. Well,
no, because this has got, she's no longer with us, is she? Like the main villain, the actress, she passed away, was it last year, a couple of years ago? Because she's quite a famous actress, or she was, sorry.
Yeah. It's so weird now, isn't it? You think about all these actors who passed away since the show returned.
Well, I think hers was relatively recently, that's why I remember. Because I didn't even know she was famous. I just knew her from Doctor Who. From this episode.
Yeah. Oh, good evening, Chris. Good evening, everyone.
Back.
Yeah, who's in the chat? Let's have a look.
Right,
PD's in the chat. No, I don't know if you sent him an email.
I did. I sent him an email. Sent everybody an email.
Meeting a cornetto.
Right. I've got it anyway. That was easy. It's the first episode on the next disc anyway. Right, so for obviously for Facebook it's going to be a different. Well, I haven't actually posted it up on Facebook yet, so that might be a good thing. But we'll wait until it's over anyway. Yeah, so PD is here. I've sent Real Super Doctor an email as well, so we'll see if he pops in. But we're starting in 4 minutes either way, and then we'll get Charlotte to do her review.
Of course, Diana Rigg is in it.
Yeah, I was going to say the chat saying it was a well-known actress. I can remember.
Oh
Yeah.
from the
Same
Avengers
director.
and
Avengers
Game of
and
Thrones.
yeah, nice looking back in the day, I have to say. Nice looking woman back in the day.
Very good actor as well.
Yeah, very
No, she
good
played a
actress.
good part in this, a really good part.
Yeah, no, she's a great actress. That's why. I mean, you get someone of that talent in the stuff. Look, the writing even for this story as well, I found great. And you don't know what's this is what I like about this. You kind of don't know what's going on.
Well, yeah, it's sort of a
and then,
Doctor Light, isn't it? Almost
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
beginning.
Yeah.
It's a bit like a Sherlock Holmes episode, though.
Oh God, yeah. This is
Yeah.
Gatiss, so
Yeah.
you can see he was fully fanboying out with the
Yeah.
Victorian stuff and the Holmes, and also the Frankenstein clear references.
I like this because it leans into that sort of steampunk thing, which I really
Yeah,
like.
you like all that steampunk, don't you? Yeah. Right, I'll just give
steampunk,
John
yeah.
a quick message on Twitter. Ted and I will enjoy our Fortress of Solitude. We won't be joining streams for this foreseeable future, says Cheryl.
So hopefully a bit better, love. We heard
get well soon, darling.
something.
Yeah, it's the next month is her doggy Tibby's anniversary, so she doesn't. March is not a great month for Cheryl. To be honest,
Don't think it's gonna be a great season.
and with the extra situation as well,
Yeah.
especially in Ukraine and stuff and all that other bollocks going on in the world, she's obviously a little bit more upset. Yeah, so she's listening now. Hey, love. Anyway, there you go. Yeah, what did I say I was doing? I was texting Real Super Doctor.
Yeah, I think you're just trying to get
we got
John
2
on
minutes,
quickly.
Yeah, well, he'll do you know what? He'll pop in like he always does.
Yeah, he will.
He will. Now, Cheryl is looking into some new Wi-Fi or internet, whatever you want to fucking call broadband. Sorry. Because the Sky one that we have, especially in the area that we have, is shit. And apparently, the other provider that she's looking at gets the signal through the TV connection or something like that. So it's better. It's like Virgin Media. They do it through the connection.
5G.
So
They use a 5G
yeah.
connection,
So that's what the company she's looking at does. So we might be changing. Now we're going to try to do it so it doesn't interrupt. Obviously, it's a smooth transition. But as you know, ourselves, that's not always the case.
Yeah, no, it's switching.
So I'll give you as a word of warning anyway when we're getting it in, because she wants to change over. Because see, the thing is, we've got a Sky box here right before we start. We got a minute to go, so we're starting at bang on 9. But we got a Sky Q box, the new one that everybody has, yeah. And the thing about it is, we don't sit down and watch it. Like it's just sitting there. Like we got chance. Like there might be the odd night that we'll put it on. If we see something interesting, like the crime. When we first got it, was great because we were watching all the crime stories on all those crime channels, right? And it was brilliant. But like we kind of got sick and tired of that because we were doing that every day. The problem with
Sky, I've got Sky, and I never even bloody use it anymore. I barely ever watch anything on Sky anymore.
That's what I mean.
Everything I want to watch is on YouTube
online,
or Netflix, or
and
they barely release enough new content. They're not competing. They're not producing enough original dramas.
You want to give you a little bit of a
sets over and over.
Bit of an insiders in that one.
Well, hold on. Before you do, because I know you're very knowledgeable about this. Can we just get Charlotte to do the countdown so we can actually just start this episode, and then you can say the point that you want to make? But hold on, everybody in the chat, if you're ready, please press 1, please.
Yeah, and hold on very quickly. Series 7, we're on.
Oh yeah, Series 7 episode.
I've got 12 here. I don't know.
Yeah, it's on. Yeah, I think I've got. See, because I have it in the box
10,
set.
Isn't it?
Yeah, something like that or something.
Get this thing to work.
10,
The Crimson Horror. It's the Crimson Horror. Can you still, Lee? You'll get that. I'll send you. Are you using that site, mate?
Yeah, I'm still trying to get it to work.
Oh, it should. It should
Holton,
work.
Not hide.
Yeah,
the Crimson Horror.
It's the
Just
Crimson Horror.
Crimson Horror.
I picked the wrong episode. Trust, it's the Crimson Horror.
Episode 8, I think.
Okay.
And they are right. We did actually do hide. It's just this week has been just all over the place with all the shit. Look at like everybody, right? We all put on a front. Let's be honest, right? But we're all scared shitless right now because we're gonna
Episode 6, yeah.
because we're wondering what's happening over there and if it's going to be escalated. And if it does get escalated, then we know what's going to happen.
Talks in Belarus.
Yeah, but he's rejected them. He's rejected them.
No,
I think they're trying to get him there. I think they're trying to get him there to basically.
Yeah,
rolling out the nukes,
just for YouTube reasons. Let's not finish that sentence.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. That's why I didn't want to finish it. But that's why I reckon they want to get him there. What?
I just want to say this. What you first said when you opened that sentence, amen to that. We're all fucking scared.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Do you want me to do count?
Yeah, go ahead. Go on, Will, and then we can talk while we...
Yeah, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
To start the opening shot to this episode, I remember there it is there, is lovely Yorkshire 1893. Oh my god. That's what it was. That was the age of coal, wasn't it? That was the Victorian age.
Oh yeah, because this is I don't know if Sweetville was a real thing, but I know the idea of Sweetville did exist.
Yeah.
Sort of having these massive factories and having this sort of all the workers living that close and having almost a community.
Pit villages, pit villages.
Because steam became a big thing, didn't it? Steam was powering everything, the new technology at the time. But go on, PD, you were going to say something, and I did say.
Okay, going back to what I was saying, the problem being earlier, Sky are building a new film studio in Borehamwood because to make more content.
All right.
No, they need to because
they need more content.
Bad Wolf was one of their big providers, and they're now doing Doctor Who. So
well, you see, Sky have been clever though. They have been managed to get Netflix on their box and other apps, right, like Apple TV and all it is. But you are right; they won't survive with just bringing them. They have to start making their own content. But the one thing that annoys me about Sky is this, right? Now, I don't have the Sky Cinema package, right? But if I did, I'd be pretty pissed off because every 2 weeks they repeat the same movies, right? For 2 weeks, especially if it's a premiere or a new movie coming out, for 2 weeks that movie is non-stop on. Like, you know what I mean? Do you know what I miss, man? And I'm not messing. I miss the days of going to a video shop or a DVD store to watch a movie when I wanted to watch the movie.
That was like event TV, wasn't it? You went out of your way to get a film and
or you'd have a family night. I remember we did that as a family.
I remember my mum and dad, right, 5 o'clock in the evening. It was like clockwork, man. Every Friday, they'd go down to the video store, right? They'd get 2 movies for themselves and they'd get a movie for us, right? That's the way they...
Yeah, that's what we do.
You'd be able to rent out 3 videotapes. So my mum and dad get 2 films for themselves and a film for us, right? Now, what would normally happen is they'd watch the 2 films themselves first to see if there was any content in it. Because, like, they didn't mind us watching certain films if it wasn't too adult, if you know what I mean. So... you know, we'd probably end up watching 2 or the 3 movies. That's how I got into horrors, thanks to me mum. My mum used to rent horrors out all the time, and I'd end up watching them with her, you know. But I miss those days, man. I miss those days where you could just go into a video shop, or even if it was a Blu-ray or a DVD store now.
That's it.
Just go in and choose the movie wherever time I want and watch it whenever time I want. With a Sky, people say Sky's convenient and all these other things are convenient. Well, the apps are convenient because you can still watch when you want to, I suppose. But Sky isn't convenient because if there's a movie on that you want to watch, if you've missed that, you've missed it, then you have to wait for the next. I hate that crap. You have to kind of work a schedule around that box. So we don't use it. We use all those other apps that we've been using, and they work perfectly. So Cheryl's thinking was, well, why should we keep Sky when we don't even... because the only thing I watch on Sky is this, right? And Lee is going to obviously go, oh, fucking football, right? But that's exactly what I watch on it. I watch Match of the Day, and I watch Quest, channel Quest, because they do the championship and the League 1 and League 2 highlights. And I watch the football. That's it. And I'll watch the Six Nations rugby when it's on. But that's it.
I love Strax.
Oh no, this is the beginning of me hating Strax.
He's
Yeah,
just
but
crazy.
I know why, right?
He's
Because this is where
intolerant,
they
though.
started. Yeah, but this is where they started to make him more of comedy element. He was a
Well,
comedy.
yeah,
He was a
and by the
comedy
end,
plot
he's
device,
just an
basically.
idiot. He's an
Yeah,
absolute idiot by the end of this story.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I do love the
but-
banter with him with the Scottish, and I do love his banter with the
I just
people.
love
It's
Deb
just
Starkey playing him.
oh, there she is.
Yeah.
What the fuck? She only died, didn't she, recently?
That's what I
Yeah.
was saying. It was recent, and I was like, God, was she like really famous? I had no idea. I just knew her as Doctor Who, like one episode actress. Oh God, the daughter as well. I think she plays a good part. The daughter, sorry, the actress. Yeah, because the setting, you can tell Gators was just having so much fun with this setting.
Yeah.
Oh.
And you can tell he's never clearly actually been up north,
Yeah.
the way he has them talking.
You're all off to mill, don't you?
It's
You're
like,
off to the mill.
yeah, it's like up to mill.
Yeah.
All right, love. It's so typical Southerner trying to write
Yeah.
Northerners. It's quite funny.
It looks like a Harry Enfield sketch, doesn't it?
Yeah, especially when you have the woman with the teeth in a bit. It's just like, really,
Yeah.
you've got the bad teeth joke as well in there.
Yeah.
It's like, do you want every stereotype going, Gators?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
I love the music in this. It's a bit alien.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I like Vestra. I can never quite say her name. I do really like Vestra. I always have.
Yeah, and I do like the interaction between these two here. It's when he interacts with other people, but
Yeah.
I do think he is funny in this
Yeah.
episode. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, he does get irritating, but
Yeah.
you know, he was one of the bright sparks for me in the Moffat era. I have to be honest.
Just have to say, Gatiss was born in County Durham.
Oh, so where's my geography? Shocking. Where's that?
And he also studied in Leeds.
So
Oh,
that's near.
God,
So
right.
it is Yorkshire. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
wrong. Even I know that. Shirley, you're from the UK, and even I know that, man.
Well, I didn't know Gators was from like he studied
Hey,
up here.
Darlington,
Or
mate.
Here,
I
listen,
thought he was
Darlington.
a Southern boy.
in all
the way he
fairness, the
spoke.
only reason why I know is because
I
of the
think he was
football.
Have you watched
Doctor
League of
Nathan.
Gentlemen by any chance?
No,
League of
that's probably
Gentlemen?
why.
Because
Yeah.
it plays a fair bit of northern characters.
Yeah,
Right,
Royce
because of the way
Basie
he
is Roy Toad
speaks,
Brown's
Lee,
real name.
I honestly thought he was just a posh boy.
Ah, well, that's acting training. That is.
It is.
Yeah.
Now
I
that
just
makes
love
sense.
the way everybody.
You know, a
practices.
lot of northern actors end up
It's deadly,
changing
isn't
their
it?
accent, making it more southern.
Isn't it? Isn't it, man? Everybody that just comes to the door just falls.
No, I like that
Oh.
joke because it's realistic. It's like a Victorian bloke seeing Strax and seeing
Yeah.
all of this would
Is
be
he
like
Vestra?
absolutely overtaken by it.
Yeah.
You would. You'd be overtaken by fear.
She'd be
makes
screaming
sense.
It was a bit
Face.
silly though. She's wearing a very thin black veil, and you couldn't see what she looked like. I mean, we can sit there and see what she looks like underneath.
Yeah.
I love the way Strax just wants to go to war all the time. Like
Oh yeah, you just
you
want
might
to
be
shoot
on
people.
Earth, but you can't take the
The
Sontaran
only
out of him.
problem I have with Strax is that if you look at all the previous Sontaran stories from the classic era,
Oh no, I get what you're saying. It's not a typical.
Yeah.
It's not a Sontaran. I get what
too
you're
comic.
saying. I do. I get
Well,
what
he
you're
was
saying. But
technically,
come on, you have to admit,
It was
though.
technically an ambulance, what do you may call it? It wasn't a paramedic. It
Yeah.
was technically a
Her
paramedic.
teeth are perfectly white apart from the black bits around it. I mean, like if they were bad, they would be yellow, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's
yellow as
it's-
mine.
like I said, it's sort of a walking stereotype where it's
Yeah.
like you're up north, you don't have good teeth. It's just like,
Well, in
It's a British
fairness,
stereotype now, isn't it? We all got bad teeth.
well, in fairness, back in those days, I don't think you were brushing our teeth back then. So
Oh no,
We're not obsessed with it like America is. It's
I,
what it
Yeah,
I
but
is.
just think,
they wouldn't have afforded much in the way of sugar, you know. That
Exactly.
true. So their teeth wouldn't have as rotted as
It'd
much
just be
either.
stained. That's all.
sugar was very expensive.
oh yeah, it was only for the rich, for the people who had money.
Yeah. It was
There's a
sweet
guinea in it for you.
Although it was the advent of penny sweets at that time, though.
Yeah.
Well, they were penny
Boiled
dreadful,
sweets.
so I don't know about
Good
sweets.
Good
though.
magazines.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah,
know
yeah.
Liverpool won
Pulp
today.
Fiction. Pulp Fiction.
As I'm a Man United fan, do not discuss Liverpool on this channel.
Not a hoo-ha regarding Chelsea at the moment. That's all I'm saying.
This I found interesting, using the speakers to pretend
this
there was
was
a
clever.
That's
factory.
a good idea.
Pretending there's an actual factory running.
It really does make you think, what on earth is going on at this point?
Again, very clever. Very clever. This is how you do clever. See, when Moffat and Gatiss got it right, they got it
Yeah.
right. When they got it wrong, they got it horribly wrong.
Yeah, I think that's a very good
Yeah.
way to describe both of them.
Yeah.
And this story, they've got it right. The music is perfect.
And like the Undertaker, I don't know what the term would be back in this day, but you can tell he's right from like a Sherlock Holmes book. The demeanor and the way he's like just a little weirdo.
Yeah, sweets and starch normally rot teeth. We didn't have rice and stuff then, so it wouldn't be that much starch.
But potatoes rot your teeth. Yeah.
Yeah, starch. Yeah, potatoes would.
More that they clog up your arteries and capillaries
Yeah.
more than some chemical things.
Yeah.
She does play just a batty old woman very well, doesn't she? Rick?
Yeah.
She was one of the highlights from Game of Thrones.
Oh, she was one of the best characters.
Oh, she brilliant in Game of Thrones.
Oh, she was brilliant. She killed what's its face, Joffrey, didn't she?
She was great.
She killed Joffrey.
Well, let's be honest, he was a little asshole anyway.
Oh,
he was awful.
The guy that played Joffrey did such a good job.
He did, actually.
He got
You know
so much
what?
stick for it afterwards.
The first few seasons of that show were absolutely epic, and it was a global phenomenon. It's just a pity. It's just a pity they ruined it. They messed
got
it up.
bored. They wanted to sort off and do Star Wars, and then they screwed that up by screwing that up.
Yeah, they got sacked because they lied. They committed liability.
If they wanted to live, man, they should have.
I should have passed it on to someone else.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Yeah, but it was the thing that made them famous, so they didn't want to leave it.
But they ruined their own legacy.
I know
George
they
had
have
enough as well.
The
so
force. I know George had enough, but listen. In fairness to George, right? Fairness to George, don't listen to Anne that comes out of that man's mouth, man.
No,
where's
the book, George?
Where's the book? Exactly, the book you've promised fans for over 11 years now.
George.
I love this reveal now. I think it's such a good one. Like you just see the hand and then you hear the cries.
He must have been washing red off him for years after this.
Yeah.
So according to Michael in the chat, originally Matt Smith was offered as Dr. Watson for Sherlock, but Moffat asked him to play the Doctor.
Oh,
I can't picture him as a Watson.
no.
He's too odd looking for Watson.
Freeman as Doctor Who though. As a Doctor.
No, but hang on. Was Sherlock wasn't out when Matt Smith took over Doctor Who?
No, it wasn't.
No.
Oh, it hadn't.
So what you're saying is that originally he was asked, but he turned it down. But then Doctor Who came along then, and he asked him to play the Doctor. because that would make sense.
I was asking him to do double shifts, if you know what I mean.
Because
He wouldn't do
Sherlock
that.
wasn't even, if I'm correct in saying,
Series 5, I don't think Sherlock was out yet.
Sherlock
Maybe
started in 2010.
Yeah. Oh, did it? So, yeah.
Well,
probably
then
was
he's
at the same
right.
time.
Then well, then
Right.
that's right. Then because Matt Smith's run started in 2010.
Does that mean Martin Freeman might be considered for the 11th Doctor?
Well, then you're
Interesting.
probably right. Then okay, right.
Interesting.
Wow. No, I'm actually glad Michael Freeman got it, but that would have been an interesting casting for Dr. Watson. But I don't think he would have been
No.
convincing as Dr. Watson, to be honest.
Martin,
He's,
yeah.
Dr. Watson has to be the plain man, has to be the straight guy, has to be all of those things. Matt's too out there.
Yeah, he was out there in Pride and Prejudice and monsters. Was it vampires? So zombies, that's it. And zombies. He was very out there in that as well. He was this kind of very scared priest.
And also, just look at this. Must have been so hard for Matt to act, like, because it's so convincing how, like, you can almost feel the pain just watching him move, and his eyes and how frantically they're moving because that's the only thing that can.
Yeah. It's like
Right, this is
extreme
pure.
sunburn,
Yeah, this is pure physical acting now.
Yeah.
It looks so much like Peter Davison though.
Yeah.
Just with a red face.
Oh, and her monster's gone. I think this is probably the most direct Moffat got. Sorry, this is probably the most direct Frankenstein we've got so far reference.
Yeah.
Because obviously in the book, the old man was blind who was kind to him because he couldn't see him, and the girl's blind here.
Yeah.
And my monster. So yeah, this is not just nodding the head. This is literally almost taking stuff directly from the book.
Glad Jenny found him.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Jenny, yeah, no strong women in Doctor
Jenny.
Who.
I like Padlosh the gang.
Oh, think of that in a bit when she's literally like karate chopping blokes and like has a cat suit on, and it's just like, yeah, no strong women.
Yeah.
I didn't get this at the time, and I still don't think Keith would kiss her.
She's gay, you moron.
We forget about this iteration of his costume as well.
Yeah.
It's a good one. I like it.
I love this costume. Series 7 Part 2, his costume's brilliant. This is the Victorian version.
No, here's the short story now. So,
Oh, and I love
and
these.
look at they do it in the old style film.
Yeah. Lithograph. You increase the yellows. That's how you get that. Slightly.
And obviously the grainy look as well.
Yeah, and he put a grain filter over it. A friend of mine told me how to do it in a TV studio.
and there's the Tegan reference that we probably never thought we'd get in an episode like this.
Yeah. Yep, there we go.
I know, I love the line when Clara was like, why did you then keep trying? And he was like, I don't really know. And it's like, yeah, why did you not just drop her off somewhere? Why did you keep trying to get her to whatever airport she was trying to get to?
I love those coats.
Yeah. They did dress well in Victorian times, I will say that.
Yeah. Also known as a pit estate, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, you know, obviously this is the much grander version of a pit
It's
estate.
a clean
Same
version of a
idea.
pit estate because it's more of a factory estate. That's what you get here. It's something called a factory estate or a pit estate. That's what it is. It's a town owned by a company. Company workers live. You know, the first time I saw this episode, I really hated it, but now I'm really starting to like it.
I can remember when I first watched this, the ending felt a little bit rushed.
Yeah,
But I remember liking the atmosphere and
that's
the
it.
obvious tropes and the sort of. And I really like how sort of devious the mother is and how
Yeah.
horrible the mother is.
I think this is technically a 2-part that's been shortened down to a 1.
Probably, yeah.
That's that feeling.
Oh, grand smashing.
Oh,
You know what I
oh.
mean? It felt like a
Stop it.
southerner writing these lines. It's like, how many northernisms can you get into each sentence?
Yeah.
Gosh, it sounds like Jodie bloody Whittaker.
Now you know why I said what I said.
Starting to sound like Emmerdale, isn't it? Really?
But it's even more funny than if he's actually studies in Leeds and he's from up here.
See how much better this would have been with Victorian Clara.
Yeah.
Exactly.
She'd be right at home, wouldn't she?
Because she's not annoying here.
Well, wait until the end.
Yeah, well, yeah.
See, and that's just lovely messed up imagery as well.
Yeah, that's very Victorian steampunk.
So I was trying to work this out. So would the women not get dunked into that red stuff?
I'm
Or
not
would they?
sure.
Because it only
Seemingly.
seemed to be the blokes that were rejects.
There's some blokes
Yeah.
there, though. Standing. I suppose they're waiting in line, aren't they?
She got a bit of a crush on him. That's why she kept him. locked
Oh,
away.
just a bit.
Yeah.
But at least you can tell it's purely because she saw a similarity between them. That she's obviously deformed in a sense with her
Yeah.
eyesight and the way she was treated, and she saw the same
Yeah.
thing in her monster.
Yeah.
She's lonely, and she just
Yeah.
wanted some companionship.
Yeah.
But yeah, that look at the end did become a little bit like, yeah, you want more than companionship, love, don't you?
Yeah.
That's quite a creepy shot.
This is. You can so imagine this in Gatiss' head, though, can't you?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if almost that bit was directly hardly changed from what he imagined when he was storyboarding.
Yeah. That's a very Sherlock Holmes bit, looking into the eye.
Well, yeah, well, it's sort of that thing of ghosts and superstition actually having a scientific basis, which is very
Yeah.
Holmes.
Yeah.
And obviously, this is very Christian preacher of the time
Yeah.
period, the whole idea of apocalypse and going to Jerusalem.
Yeah. Building Jerusalem on England's green and great,
Yeah, it's
great
very
land.
Englishy in that sense.
Yeah. Ask Rabbi nicely, he can send you a piece.
Oh, here he is.
Thomas.
You have failed in your mission. I
You've
look
got to
just
remember,
look-
he's the most
Fake.
incompetent Sontaran ever, though.
No, this sort of comedy I didn't mind with Strax. It was whenever
Yeah.
they blatantly made him out to be the idiot, like compared to Jenny or Vastra, and I was just like, can we not have the typical one bloke character out the three of you as the
Yeah.
stupid one?
Does anyone remember them Tom-Toms?
No, but I guessed them just by
We
the
all
way
use our
the lad
mobile
was-
phones now.
Yeah, we do.
Use Google Maps. Yeah, Tom-Toms. You buy it and you go use it for a year, but then you have to update it. You have to get a thingy to update it.
Yeah, that's why everybody started using their phones.
Yeah, so everyone just started using Google Maps instead.
The weird looking smile she's putting on her face, though.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, 'cause they're
freaky.
basically like dolls, aren't they?
Yeah.
Oh, like I said, I love the actress here, who's the daughter. So you really feel for her.
Yeah.
And there's just nothing from the mum. Uttered contempt.
She was wearing black a lot though. That normally means mourning.
Maybe there was a. Well, there must have been a husband at some point.
Yeah, husband died. She started wearing black afterwards.
And then weird lava
Figured these
thing
out, yeah.
found her.
Yeah. So every time you see her, she's always wearing black. She's always
Well,
mourning.
and also, if you think about Victorian standards, it was expected that the wife would, like, for
Yeah.
months on end, even years
Yeah.
sometimes, be expected to stay in
Yeah.
mourning. So they would wear black for ages.
Yeah, Queen Victoria never took it off
Yeah.
after Prince Albert died.
This is the scene I'm talking about in a minute, where it's like, yeah,
The
no
type of the
strong women.
supermodels.
Oh, I love this. This is where she's in her suit.
Matt's face. She's taken, Doctor. Stop looking.
It's quite ridiculous. Like, this is like what,
No.
£90 taken on like.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at least they have established before
Strax.
this that she's got a background. But I get what you mean, Lee. She's a little slight thing.
No. Oh.
Ambassador's like, what have you done?
Ah, look at him. He wants to
He's
go
all
to
excited.
war.
Yeah, but look, she's basically told him like a dog, go down and be a good boy.
Just wants to kill everyone.
He
That's
just
all.
wants to kill her. I know, but that's what's funny about it.
No, but
And then
that line,
he
that
just
I'm going-
walks off like a baby.
That's what I didn't like though. And it's like, I'm going to go and play with my mines. It's like, you made him an idiot. Like a.
He always was though. That's the point of Strax.
Yeah, he always was an idiot.
That's why they made him
That's why he got caught in the first place and got shot on the battlefield, because he was an idiot.
Yeah. Technically a paramedic. That's what got made a paramedic.
That's what I mean. So he was made a paramedic by the Santarans because he'd screwed up. So he was an embarrassment anyway. So this, at least this gives him a bit of honor. Well,
They don't treat him with it. That's my issue
Yeah.
with.
I think the problem with Strax is he played Dan Starkey plays Score as well.
yeah, he did.
And Score was more competent, and so you're getting Strax and Score mixed up. They both came from the same batch, but different people technically. Clones and all. Clones. Yeah. You can't. Yeah. Character of Strax in
in
Series
the
4 isn't the
story,
same.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
But the problem was, for me, it had this undercurrent in the script of,
Yeah.
let's put him down, let's make him an idiot, and let's have the two. And I think I'm seeing it more because of what's happened of late. But even back then, maybe I was picking up a little bit of, let's make the male the idiot and the two females strong and independent and like the intelligent ones. And I was just like, no, I don't really like this.
Yeah.
Obviously now it's like overdrive. It's nowhere near as bad here, I will admit that.
Yeah. Score, SK00 ORR Score. Commander Score he originally played. Poison Sky. The Sondaran Stratagem. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to tell the difference because they're both technically the same person in the same outfit. Oh, have we seen this before?
I was going to say, yeah. Christmas Carol, it's like a less impressive version.
It's like a reuse for the Christmas Carol.
Oh, I love this scene when he sees her now. And he's clicking about the scars.
Yeah.
See, that's just, I know we've said it in slows, but it's those little things in the script.
Yeah.
Like, he's not telling to the audience directly, I know what's happened to her.
Yeah.
You just see him starting to work it out, and then when we get to the reveal in a couple of minutes, you go, oh, that's what he was doing. So it tracks and it makes sense. Just shows the intelligence.
Yeah. Seed cake, yeah. It's an old favourite.
You're nuts.
Yeah. I thought it was going to turn into a Fenric thing.
Yeah, I could see why you could think that.
Yeah.
I
That's
like the
why I
fact
was
that
disappointed by it, because I thought it linked to Curse of Fenric, and it didn't.
yeah, I like that. I like though that it's its new own thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's not a bad little puppet or whatever that is.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It's a different creature. I mean, Star Trek
Oh,
did
it's
it.
so cute. I want one.
Golly,
Don't
really?
want one of those.
It's not like it's cute until you see the mouth.
I'm afraid I'm a hard edge, not a soft edge, mate.
Imagine the X-rated version of that where it's sucking something else.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
She wouldn't have any teeth left. It'd bite it all off.
It reminds me of Total Recall.
Quaid.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of.
Quaid.
Oh, I love that. What are these? The wrong hands? Like she's just batty. It's brilliant. It's just nice now and again to have villains who just don't care and are just having fun almost.
Yeah.
Being a villain.
I find that Thomas isn't afraid of him.
Chris has just said, Lee, cute, Cute. We need to have a definition on cute. Your reaction.
Yeah.
It was cute.
Like I said,
Yeah, it's so cute that I want to stamp all over it and kill the thing.
You're wrong.
Oh, now
It's so cute. It kind of reminds me of one of those Jodie Whittaker fans, feeding off the corpse of the old
Yeah.
Doctor Who.
They should remaster Jodie there. Hey, yup.
Red
Hey,
face
Michael.
because it's
Yeah,
constantly
keep up.
angry at people.
Yeah. Sucking on the old
Big
franchise,
black
I
eye,
am. Yeah.
sharp teeth.
produces Venom.
Yeah.
Yeah, venomous. Yeah,
Yeah.
parasitical. Yeah.
Oh, I love when she just breaks now. She's become a bit crazy, the daughter.
Yeah.
I think the music is unnecessary here.
No, because
Yeah,
the
you
actress
didn't
is
need
going
the
ham
music.
Too
enough.
Murray Gold. That's just a guidance system.
Ada.
You just want to slap her, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
They would have been burnt alive.
Exactly, by the rocket, yeah. The rocket exhaust, yeah.
Well, it's all sci-fi, and it doesn't work out at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets to have his hero moment.
She didn't even hit her, she just missed.
Well, this is almost, I wrote it as like a Disney villain death. When on
Yeah.
Disney movies, they couldn't actually show them being killed. So they'd
Yeah.
always fall from a great height, or something like that would happen.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're no longer useful, love.
Yeah.
Oh. Look, just needs
I
to
was
be
gonna say-
loved and hugged.
I was gonna say, get your alls in right now, Lee, because if you remember what happens in a minute,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what to do.
No.
I love that. There's no like sugarcoating. She's like, I'm not gonna forgive you. You blinded me and scarred my face for life.
Yeah.
There you go, Lee. Blew up.
Fireworks. Oops.
Mean.
It's not mean.
It sort of destroyed her life, Lee.
Exactly.
Why is the doctor
It's only
wasn't
doing what's
pissed off by
natural
that,
to
And
it.
it killed
Can't help
loads of
itself.
people.
Yeah, that's why the doctor didn't get angry with her. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Just
because of
realised
the
that.
personal reasons. Of course, she wanted to kill it.
Oh.
Yeah.
See that line? You're the boss. It was like, oh no, 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 no. And then Clara got worse from this episode.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
got stuck in her craw, that one, didn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I think she could have made a good companion.
I was thinking that as well.
Somebody a bit different.
Yeah.
But then Clara would probably
hindrance.
get jealous.
TARDIS likes her but hates Clara.
Yeah. TARDIS could probably try and fix her eyes. Not in the TARDIS.
No.
2 episodes time.
And he's like, I'm not going to. And down we go.
Yeah, this is where all that stuff started creeping in as well, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, yeah, look, she's happy. She's like, yay, I'm the boss. It's like, you really shouldn't be. But you can see her now. She's like playing with it and she's boasting to herself.
Yeah. It makes the 1930s. Sorry, 1980s or something. Transformers. Uh-oh.
Now, I think, to be fair, the kids would do this. Kids would definitely do this.
Yeah. They'd spot it in school or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially teenagers.
Look into it even more, yeah.
I forgot what the next episode was a bit until I watched this bit, and I was
Oh
just like,
no!
Silver.
Is this next episode the
Yeah.
fucking Cyberman one?
Yep.
yeah, with the kids.
Oh, for
Matt Smith goes all Borg drone, yeah.
Well, it's got Warwick Davies in it.
Yeah. Porridge.
Yeah. Do you not remember? It's the Gaiman one next that we now know got
Yeah.
horribly managed and mangled.
Yeah.
Probably why he never did Doctor Who episodes again afterwards.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that never made sense about that scene. The Russians wouldn't take photographs of themselves on a Russian
No,
submarine.
I'll give you that. That was the
Right.
only thing.
One, right? Well, but in fairness, who was taking photographs of Victoria and Clara?
Oh,
Because she
God.
said that wasn't her. 'Cause
Yeah.
that
I was going to
the-
say, Lee, yeah, I was like that when I clicked what the next episode was.
This is the next episode. There's some good moments in this, but
Oh, the Matt
overall,
stuff.
Yeah.
All the Doctor stuff with Matt is brilliant. The
Yeah.
what's he called? The evil version.
oh,
Can't think he's
forget
got a
now.
name. Because he's basically doing chess with himself, and that's brilliant.
I hate that story with a passion.
Taking a week
Right.
off next week then.
Yeah, I think I might have to.
Right, we'll get straight into. So we start with Charlotte first.
No, I think this is another one that watching it again has improved from when I first watched it. It's Gatiss in his element. He's got all the horror stuff he loves. He's got all the Sherlock tropes because it's Victorian times and it's Vastra and Jenny, and they were very much their sort of Sherlock stand-ins at that point. I love the idea of the Doctor being taken out the story at the beginning. I think it's a really good Doctor Light idea as well. I quite like Jenny. I always have. I've always liked Best. I can never say her name. Vastra. Strax. He's not as annoying yet, but that was when I started to click. Oh God, they're gonna play him like this, just a complete and utter idiot, which I didn't like. And you're starting to see at the end the Clara stuff with her being like, "I'm the boss," and it's just like,
Yeah.
but it's still not as bad as it can get. I really think the dressing and all the sets and everything, they really did a good job with that. And it's a good little mystery as well, sort of with the horror and what's Mrs. Sweet doing. And she's brilliant. Like the actress, obviously, they had a very well-known actress playing the part, but I think she's written very well. She's sort of a very, what I said about the in the Scrapper episodes, I like it when they're irredeemable sometimes because she is just horrible. And the way she treats the daughter, there's like nothing left good in her. And it's just fun to have that sort of old-fashioned villain almost in a story. But like I said, there was a few things, like I said, the Strax and the Clara stuff. So I'll give this an 8. Yeah, I think I'll go with 8.
No problem, PD.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed this episode, seeing it more recently. But when I saw it originally, I was like baffled by it. I think it's because it's got like elements of kind of James Bond element because of Diana Riggs in it. It's got a Sherlock Holmes element we all like, we kind of expect. And it's got a lot of other weird elements in it. And when I first saw it, I was really baffled by it. But recently, with Charlotte talking me through it, I understand it a lot better. I'm going to give it an 8.5. I think it's a very good episode, but I just think that it should have been a 2-parter because it suddenly goes from being a Sherlock Holmes to being James Bond.
Fantastic. Lee.
Yeah, I liked it when I first saw it because it was different. It was. I liked the bit where they sort of do the oldie worldy sort of cinema.
Yeah.
I thought it was quite a neat trick.
It was. I actually like that.
To draw the Doctor into the story and then going backwards. I like that timey-wimey stuff. You can see that they were definitely sort of influenced by their experiences doing Sherlock with this.
Yeah.
I've never really been 100% sold on the Madame Vastra and all that kind of stuff. But it's not irritating at this point.
Yeah, it's not the main bit of the story about them. They're sort of very much their own characters still at this point.
Yeah, there are still some elements in this which are, beginning to creep in now.
Yeah.
Man faints and, 90-pound girl takes on 2 men and a woman in single combat. It's a bit silly.
Well, no, it's just being James.
It's a bit James Bond, yeah.
Well, yeah, I know, but it's just like, with her elbow, she can knock out,
fair enough. Yeah, I'll give you that one.
You need some muscle there as well. It's not just whacking people.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's fantasy, so you can excuse that. Great to see Diana Rigg being fantastically Diana Rigg, and being this callous woman. Great performances again. I think Gold's music is a little overused in this to try and ramp it up, and I'm struggling to hear what's being said underneath it, which has been a problem.
No, I agree. I thought the
mostly...
music at the start, Lee, was great because it was just like an undertone, like Alien. But you are right, when it gets into the episode, then there are
gets
scenes where the
bombastic,
music does fucking overpower. But
because
go ahead,
I can
sorry.
imagine it without the music, and it works just as it, and the performance pulls it through anyway. You don't need all that, and again, it's sort of drowning out. Very much similar to my early experiences when Eccleston was the Doctor. The music seemed to drown out what was being said. I'm like, what's that? I mean, you're missing things, like little things. There's a line that Diana Rigg's character said that I couldn't hear because the music was. It just didn't need to be there. That's a quibble anyway, but great sort of Victoriana steampunk thing. You know, I love the room with the bell jar and the pump thing going. It's very, very Victoriana steampunk, which I love. Yeah, cute little parasite, little monster, poor thing.
Which Lee wants.
I want that.
I'm afraid I'm soft edge, not half edge. I'll build you one. Sorry, hard.
Yeah, it's not an overly complex story, and it's sort of one about sort of belief.
Yeah, it's an end of day story. Doesn't she believe it's the end of day? She's a yeah. It's like a doomsday cult kind of thing.
I mean, with the rocket going off though, they're in the chimney shaft, and you know, they would have been vaporized. You know, let's be honest. So there are some silly elements in this, but you know, you just take it for what it is. But yeah, it's not bad. It's quite entertaining in place. Great performances throughout, which really carries it through. The writing is good. The dialogue is good. Some great lines in there. So it's quite an enjoyable romp, really. So I'll have to give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay. Well, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I actually really do like this story. I suppose everybody's kind of given all the good examples, so I'll give a few bad examples or things that I didn't like. Obviously, I'm with Lee. You know, if you're going to do a rocket, especially in Victorian times, fair enough. But if you're in that shaft, you're going to be vaporized.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, like, might be sci-fi and fantasy and all that, but like some elements of it have to be.
You're going to get sun.
I can also imagine this being a Tom Baker story over four episodes or something, and Robert Holmes and Hinchcliffe doing this story and doing it in a similar vein, but obviously with, you know, more serious horror overtones, and you know, the comedy would be Tom Baker's style of comedy, but you know, it wouldn't be out of place.
Yeah, I do agree with PD Rich though. I think this would have worked well as a two-parter, because you could have gave more context. You know, I don't know if there actually was a prequel to this, because we normally do the prequels, but I didn't check. I don't know if there is one. There probably is. I'm not sure, but if there was, you know, this could have done with being 2 parts. I think, you know, to get a little bit more, because the story. Let's be honest, there is a story there, but it's a bit flimsy. It's not deep or anything, but you could have added more elements to it. You know, the first episode you could have had, obviously, the Doctor incapacitated like he was, Jenny Vastra and Strax and others and that girl, wherever her name is, blind girl, trying to figure out what's actually really going on. That would have been good. You could have built it up for the first episode, and then the second episode then is the Doctor trying to defeat this Mr. and Mrs. Sweet and figuring out what's going on. It could have done with 2 parts, but it's still a very good, but it's typical Gatiss, isn't it though? You as Pete said, you got that kind of horror kind of thing. He's having fun with it. But it's one of the better ones. One of his best ones. And the novel by Mark Gatiss is superb and highly recommended, says Lee Halford. So apparently the actual novelization of this story is way better. Which normally does be the case, because you can put a lot more things in the book than you can on screen, and that's the thing. If this had been a 2-parter, maybe you would have been able to do it a little bit more justice. This is why you do these novelizations anyway. Right. I'll leave it there. I've given me
No,
rating anyway.
the prequel episode is to the last episode. Name of the Doctor,
All right.
but it is based in Victorian
So
times.
it's the Night of the Doctor then. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Night of the Doctor, name of the Doctor, day of the Doctor. It's always of the Doctor.
Yeah,
after
thanks,
this.
Moffat. Yeah.
The Doctor of the Doctor. The toothbrush of the
The
Doctor.
minute of the Doctor, the second of the Doctor, the month of the Doctor, the
Right,
fortnight of
before-
the Doctor.
Right, lads, hold
A
on for a
half
minute.
hour.
Before Charlotte needs to go. It's getting to that time now. So, Charlotte, channel shout outs and where people can find you and stuff and all of that.
Yeah, so like I said, me with this Facebook, and you'll, because I don't do Twitter, but I am in the space there. I can't speak. Type 40, their private group. I am in there, and I even wrote a little thing in there today about the nonsense about no female fans before Jodie. So I did sort of say my piece in that. So if you want to see sort of me do a little bit of my own writing about that, I did put it in that group. And then for videos, obviously you've seen me on here. Me and Daniel are back with Line of Duty, and like I said, the Type 40 podcast and live streams.
Thank you. I have seen that post that you're referring to. I'll talk about that now after everybody else does their shout outs, but very interesting. But listen, Charlotte, thanks for joining us anyway. Really appreciate it. Actually, these late night streams, right? I know like it's a bit tight on time, but I've noticed that the late night streams are performing better than the times that we've been doing them at. We're actually getting more views now. I'm actually surprised. We got over 130 odd views for Classic Who, and that hasn't happened for a long time.
No, it seems to be working, which is good.
So what I might consider doing is kind of keeping it around these times, maybe a half an hour earlier if I could squeeze it. But I think the times are working out a lot better. Even for this one here, normally we'd have about 3 people watching New Who on a Sunday at the time that we usually do it. We have 13 people watching now. Now that mightn't be loads to a lot of people out there, but trust me,
Maybe
that's
have a
actually
poll.
good.
Put a poll in your.
This isn't because this isn't a democracy.
Just say, do you prefer it?
It isn't a democracy. Just a fair minute.
Yeah, but
listen. I have to go, boy. Yeah, but hang on. I have to go, boy.
No, Lee's speaking now. It has to be because other people have.
Yeah, but I can't think of other people.
As well.
Yeah, but I can't think of other people because at the end of the day, right? I do streams on this. Yeah, I've made no bones about it that this channel is helping financially. If I continue on the times that I continue on, I'm not making a penny. Right, it's as simple as that. And right now, me and Cheryl, as you know, we were in a financial situation before Christmas. Well, we've managed to get ourselves in another little bit of a financial situation because they've raised the rent. So, that's why I'm considering moving them. And not only that, if you look, I could put up a poll, right? But at the end of the day, I've got to look at how the videos are performing.
Right, fair enough.
And if you look at the last couple of weeks compared to this weekend, you will see that I'm right. The videos are performing a lot better now. These late night streams seem to be working. Yeah, you're right. Maybe a half an hour earlier would probably be a little bit better for everybody, especially on this side of the pond. I agree with you.
Find that sweet spot, yeah. Exactly.
But to try find, because remember back when we first started, Lee, we used to stream at between 8:30, 9 o'clock anyway. And I moved from that spot, and that's the biggest regret I actually have was for moving from that, because that was a sweet little time slot. Even on a Friday when Friday Night Tights were on, we were streaming and we were still getting good numbers. It was doing. I don't know why I changed in the first, but I know where you're coming from, and listen, you're on this channel long enough. I don't mind you or Charlotte.
I'll always
PD
give you back chat.
That's what I know, but I don't mind you viewing your opinion and voicing your opinion. But at the end of the day, I've got to do.
No, you got to do what's right for you, and
exactly.
If it's a problem, then we'll face it.
But don't worry.
It's not too bad.
But don't worry, I'll try to do it a half an hour earlier, obviously. But this is a sweet time spot. But anyway, before Charlotte does go, obviously, We'll do the channel shout outs with the lads because they're going to hang on for a while anyway. So I might as well just talk while Charlotte's still here so I can get her opinion as a woman. So obviously, there's a certain time lady out there. Now, I'm not going to mention her name because already Lee is already engaged with one of our fucking fan club who basically thinks that I shouldn't be doing a video on this woman because I'll send hate her way. So I want to address that. Number one, her name won't be mentioned in my video whatsoever, but I will say to the audience that is watching the video that she is a time lady. Now, there are 2 time ladies, so they won't know which time lady I'm actually talking about, but my supporters will. But if you think my supporters are going to go onto her Twitter account and harass her, you've got another thing coming, right?
But she's
never
posting
done that.
publicly on a public forum, so
and yes, and as
everyone
she's a
will see.
public, as I've been told about me, right? So I'll throw it back to those people that are giving out because I've said I'm doing a video on this young lady, right? I will say this to you, right? As Lee has pointed out, there are several videos about me out there on several YouTube channels, right? You don't hear me bitching and moaning about it.
And also, bearing in mind,
he's a public figure.
What she said in that tweet was an insult to all the fans of this show for a number of years.
I'll read it out.
Yeah.
I'll read it out. I've got the screenshots here.
So
I'll read it out and I'll get Charlotte's opinion before she has to go. So we'll start with Charlotte first, and then lads, I'll get you then to give your opinion. So this is what she said. BRB, is that Be Right Back Crying? Oh yeah, Be Right Back Crying. After so long of so many of us being bullied for loving Jodie's era, it is nice to see her doctor being celebrated like this. It is also just like so lovely. Oh no, hold on. Yeah, it is that one. Right?
Can I just say, no one bullies these people for liking Jodie Whittaker. It's the fact that they bully us for daring to criticize this era.
No.
They always come after us first. We don't go after them.
Exactly. But this is my favorite. But this is my favorite one, and this is why I'm doing the video. It is also just like so lovely and reassuring to see how many girls and women that are out here being fans and being celebrated and feeling like there's a space for them. Up until the 13th Doctor, it didn't feel like that space existed, or at least not in this inclusive way. And she put a crying emoji and a heart emoji. Now, I don't know where you've been living, right? But she's
women were ousted, like we chased out with pitchforks and torches before.
Right, but listen, lads, let me get Charlotte's opinion first, and now because we're going to talk a little bit more, right? Because she has to go, so we'll let Charlotte get a word in. But Charlotte, when you hear things like that as a female fan, right? What does that tell? What does that tell you about the person, A, and how does that make you feel that another woman out there is basically telling you that you haven't had a safe space in this fandom, or this show really hasn't been for you up until the 13th Doctor? What would you like to say in response to that?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll read out what I put, because from last night, it got me thinking a lot, and this is why I put what I put on the Doctor Who fan group, the Type 40. So I'll read out. There's been many myths created about the fandom since the start of the current era. One of the most hilarious ones made by activists being that the show was never welcoming or encouraging of female fans pre-Jodie. Saw that it was once again making the rounds on social media due to London Comic Con, so this myth is what I'm talking about. The thing that I always find interesting that some of these claims are by female fans themselves that have been long-standing in the fandom. If that is true, then surely fans like themselves would not have existed in the first place. Yep. They would have been pushed out and told to get out the fandom, like some of us have experienced in recent years. This show has never been a boys' club when it comes to the audience, just because the lead was male. Look at Comic Cons of years past or any public appearances made by all the previous Doctors. You will find male and female faces in those crowds. Then on social media when the new era of Who started. If anything, this rhetoric is damaging because it's reducing the presence of the female fans to just one era. As a female fan, I personally have never felt less welcomed in the fandom, and just so people know, I'm talking about the general fandom, not lovely community here and other places. So I've never felt less welcomed in the fandom due to how fans like me have been treated. I, like many others who are negative or have issues with the show, have been treated with attacks or like we don't even exist. This era was nothing but an empty gesture of a female Doctor to look like they were being inclusive, when we had plenty of amazing female characters throughout the show's history. So that was what I said.
I want. Can I use that response? I'll cover your name.
Yeah, I was
But
like,
can I
going to
actually
ask if we
use
can have
that
a
response?
screenshot. Can we have a
Because
screenshot?
that is an epic response. I'll cover your name, but can I use that? Because then I could put her tweets up, give my opinion, and then say, here's an opinion from a female fan. And then I'll put your comment, your screenshot.
Yeah, as long as you cover my name, because I know what the crazies are like.
I'll cover your name, don't worry. I won't even mention who wrote it, but that is well said. Chris is right, and Lee, well done. That is spot on. Look, but again, I'm glad you've said it though, because
I think it's sad that you feel that you have to cover your name as well. I just want to add that, because I think that that's an indictment of this era and the fans that it's ushered in. And another thing as well, I posted some reality about this, very much so, about how I was told to die of cancer and all this stuff, on a post by someone calling themselves Whovians United, and their response was to block me. All in the name of diversity and inclusion. And this is every time these people talk about diversity and inclusion, what they're saying is only the diversity and inclusion that we say it is. And
exactly.
Yeah, and that's why
I am absolutely fed up with this notion that they stand for LGBT people and people of color. No, they don't. What they're saying is they support
for themselves.
People of color and LGBT people and women when they agree with them. Because when you don't, and you're off the reservation, they don't give a shit about you.
Yeah, and that's why I added my little experience at the end, because it's just funny that certain fans now are saying, "Oh, it's so inclusive," and it's like, no, it's not. It's inclusive for your friends.
It's the most
inclusive for fans like you.
It's the most inclusive era of the show. That's why millions have tuned out. It had 2 million people watching on the night at the last era.
Do you know what I love? Me and Lee have been engaging with a few people, because they've been that Klein fella showed up, by the way, and I just blocked him, Lee, because he was looking to start again. You know who I'm talking about. But anyway, we've been getting these silly comments since London Comic Con about this era, and about look, here's my deal. I don't care if there are 2 million or less than 2 million fans or whatever that like this era. My problem has always been that fans like myself, Lee, Charlotte, and others out there that have said anything negative about this era, or Jodie Whittaker or Chris Chibnall, have been bullied, vilified. And remember, I, along with others, but me and Lee specifically, were targeted by a 3,000 hate mob group. And the only reason why that group ended up being taken down was because obviously the person that was running it turned out he was sending inappropriate text messages to young ladies out there.
Yeah.
And not only any young ladies, but he was sending them to women that were attracted to other women. So he was trying to basically get it off with a member of that community. And she exposed them, right? And then that was the end of that group. But people, when I have this idiot from the Time Ladies talking this shit about how she's being bullied, I'm going to tell you something about that girl. This is what this girl does, and this is what she's done from day one when I first bumped into her on social media. Now, she's had me blocked ever since, and Lee will back me up on this. This is our MO. She'll retweet someone like me or Lee that has anything negative to say about Doctor Who, right? Now, she knows the amount of support that she has. Unfortunately, whether she thinks it or not, and I do think they know what they're doing, right? They pretend that they don't, right? But what happens is a dog pile ends up happening, right? So what happens is then the people that end up getting dogpiled on call her out, right? What does she do? She starts playing the victim on Twitter, telling everybody how she's being hurt and all of this and blah, blah, blah. And then she'll say,
You know,
I'm going off Twitter for a while. And then she'll
Projection.
deactivate her account for a couple of weeks. Now, I'm going to tell you something about this girl. It's obvious what's going on here. This poor girl is very insecure about her own self. And maybe she didn't feel like she was part of the Doctor Who fandom when she came into the fandom in 2005, like a lot of them did. And I'm not blaming all 2005 fans, but this is the majority that are working for Doctor Who magazine, Time Team and all of that are fans that came into the fandom in 2005 and beyond, right? And this is the problem, right? They've got their own insecurities. She's got her own insecurities. She doesn't feel confident about herself, so she projects it onto the fandom and she comes out with rubbish like this. She was never bullied on Twitter, ever. And I can tell you that. She was never bullied on Twitter. She instigated it, and those people defended themselves. And this is the problem with this other side. They started, as Lee says, they instigated all. We defend ourselves. We're the bullies. That's not how it works. You're the bullies. Now, I'm sick of this girl because over the last couple of weeks, by the way, she's been coming out with shite, right? She needs toilet paper. Someone give it to her because she's speaking so much fucking shite. It stinks, right? She hasn't got a clue what she's talking about, right? Doctor Who, look at Jordan the Classic era. It can be said that maybe there were more male fans than there was female fans. Nobody's denying that, right? But since this show has come back in 2005, the one thing that RTD has managed to do is to make the show for everybody, right? And we were thankful for that because that meant then our show was secure and we as fans then could watch and see this show grow. That's all we've ever wanted, right? I am sick and tired of these people trying to say that men in this fandom are toxic towards women. A lot of the women, listen, that London Comic Con photograph that's being floating about, you've all seen it, of all the idiot gobshite men in that photograph dressed as Jodie Whittaker's Doctor. Yous are shameful.
And did you notice what? All the men have been filtered to the sides of the photo.
Yeah. But
very inclusive.
The most interesting part about that photograph is I recognise a few people in the photograph. So does Lee, and so does everybody else that's being bullied. Because when you look at that photograph, there are several people in that photograph that have engaged in retweeting fans' tweets like us and a dog pile, being responsible for a dog pile. Right, there's actually one particular lady in the middle of the photograph. Right, I won't say who she actually is, but this is the same. Well, you all know it's the girl that's been going around accusing me of horrible stuff. She's in the photograph. These are the kind of fans that Jodie Whittaker has attracted. Now, it's not Jodie Whittaker's fault, but this is because of the rhetoric she's used and the media used. You get these little radicals, right? These women are not good. These women are not good. Most of those women that have been photographed have engaged in some sort of harassment and abuse on Twitter, guaranteed.
And they got their male feminist white knights doing
protecting
the deed for them. You know, they
Right, I
command
need
this
to go
person's
now,
bullying
everybody.
me, and then they
Yeah,
No
night,
problem.
Charlotte.
night Charlotte, night ma'am.
No,
No,
Charlotte.
Hey, my friend.
So can you just take that from the group then if you want to use it?
I've already done it.
Good, and I'll send Lee a copy then if he wants one.
Right,
Yeah.
I'll send Lee the copy. I'll send it to him.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was going to say it'd be easier if you do it.
Yeah, that's if his Twitter DMs are still working because they weren't working last night.
What?
I sent you a message, man. Right, I can get into everybody else's chat that I'm chatting with. When I try to get into your chat on Twitter, it's not loading. That's why I asked you, did Twitter do something with your DMs because you're not receiving DMs?
No, it's open.
Right, just check your DMs because Nob will send you what you
Yeah, I'll
asked
try
for.
send them on. But like I did try send it to you, but there's something fucking wrong.
Everyone
I'll
else
try
is
If not
having
Lee,
no
we've
well,
got
then if it's not you, then it must be me. I don't know, but like I've been able to message other people. That's the weird thing about it. I think Twitter's trying to
it's
keep us
working
apart,
fine.
mate.
probably night.
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 Anyway.
Just testing. There you go.
Anyway, here's the thing, right? I am sick of this, right? And you know what? Here's the thing. I don't even get the point why they're still bringing this argument up.
I know.
The era is over, but they can't help themselves. So sorry for the person out there that has a problem with me doing a video on this. I'm going to do a video on it because I'm sick and tired of this lady, right? Because at the end of the day, she's been at it from day one. I've called her out several times. She's still not learning her lesson. The stuff that she is saying is highly dangerous. As Charlotte actually said as well, it's doing more damage than good, right? Women have never been excluded from Doctor Who. What man has ever told a woman you can't be a fan of Doctor Who? Never heard such shite in all my life. It's the you and you know what? Charlotte
That's
makes the
absolutely
greatest point of all, right? If these people didn't feel part of the fandom, well, you all came towards Doctor Who in 2005 when New Who came along, right? These are still fans now in 2022, right? 2005 to 2022. Female fans in the fandom, right? And I would argue that there were female fans back in the classic era, but not as many, but there were still female fans, right? But there's more now. Yes, we will put our hands up and say that. Of course there is, because, you know, modern fandom is different now. You know, yeah, it's you know, sci-fi back in the day, 50s, 60s, yeah, boys and comic books and all of that. Boys, it was a boy thing. It's not anymore. It's for everybody. But this is the thing. You're saying that you weren't included, you didn't have a safe space, but yet you've been in the fandom since 2005 and you're still bitching about in 2022, but you're still here.
Yeah.
That's safe space. And what is this safe space? What, you want a room where all women could just gather or something and all the men gather in another room? Is that your safe space? I don't get it. What is a fucking safe space, you idiots?
Well, it's like people who went to the New York Comic Con thing and they had Joe Martin and only black actors there, and only black people were allowed to participate. And I'm thinking, well, if you're going to this event and you're segregating like that, how is that inclusive? Yeah. I'm sorry, that's nonsense. Well, and it's got to stop. It's fetishizing race. It's fetishizing gender, and it's divisive. It's not inclusive at all. It's regressive.
You do know the new
racist. Saying. It's sexist, and it's stupid, and it's bigoted.
But I mean that. Sorry, PD, but that line there. This is the one that actually pisses me off, because it's very dangerous rhetoric that she's using. But I mean, it's like it's this.
Well, it's not so much dangerous, it's just bloody stupid and offensive, because it's basically implying that before Jodie Whittaker's era, Doctor Who was just a big boys club and no girls were allowed, and that's a complete lie.
That's what I mean. It's like it's this. Ignorant. It's also just like so lovely and reassuring to see how many girls and women that are out here being fans and being celebrated and feeling like there's a space for them.
Only certain women. What about all the women who don't like this era? They're not allowed. What about people like Melina? What about people like Starry-Eyed Girl? What about people who have been, like, I've seen, you know, how they've gone after Blue Bonnet Whovian. They've attacked and vilified female fans within this era, and usually by the male feminists, funnily enough. And it's a complete lie. It's a myth. They're living in a complete bubble. They're totally dismissive of anyone critical of this era or anyone who's on board. Male, female, gay, straight, black, white, whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. If you don't like
they talk all this game about inclusivity and diversity when all they really mean is only if you believe exactly what we
believe. Exactly. Yeah.
Which is not diverse or inclusive.
Never. No.
Well, you do know the new definition of woke, don't you? They've changed it to infantilizing the marginalized now. That's how bad it's got. They've had to change the definition.
Well, they are infantilized. They live in a world where their fifis are more important than anything else, and it's a complete nonsense.
Yeah. It was formerly being aware of people's race, religion, creed, disability, and showing empathy towards it, but now it's infantilizing the marginalized.
It's running out of steam, you see. It is. And they know it's running out of steam.
Well, they're undermining their own belief, because they're clearly proving what utter hypocrisy this is, because it isn't any of those things. Whilst it's a message like we we can all agree, like Black Lives Matter. Yes, Black Lives Matter, but Black
Lives
Lives,
Matter.
the organisation, is a neo-Marxist organisation.
Yeah,
Well, it's
no,
already
cannot
been
agree
looked
with
at.
that.
Well, it's already been
So it's
exposed
using
already,
people,
and it's fact
groups of
that
people.
there's a police investigation into that because
Yeah,
some
60
funds.
million is missing.
Yeah, because
Oh,
money
what a
went to it,
surprise!
and that's exactly
Marxist
what
lying
I.
thieves.
And that's exactly what I said would happen,
Yeah.
and I was called racist for it, and I wasn't.
Dear
See,
God.
it's always the same with every movement, unfortunately, right? It doesn't matter. It happens in football as well, right? We have movements in football as well. Unfortunately, what happens is that there's a hashtag going around. It's the same in the Doctor Who fandom.
Yeah.
A radicalized part of the fandom, or a radicalized part of the whatever the movement is, there's always a radical element that attaches themselves onto these causes.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. And then what
Like
happens
Mr. Sweet,
is those radicals themselves end up becoming rich and end up having mansions, and they can't explain it because they're supposed to be on welfare, but all of a sudden they're living in £1 million fucking mansions. You know what I mean? That's why I had a problem with it, because the whole issue here is, right, you talk about sorting out racism. Well, do it then. Right, you sit down and you fucking talk and you sort out all the issues.
Racism. You don't end racism by creating segregationalism.
Or
you don't
more
end
racism.
by being racist to white people and saying you can't be racist to white people. And it's usually white people doing this, I have to say, most of the time. You don't end racism by controlling other people and what they say and do, and then casting absolutely everything that isn't neo-Marxist racist. Right,
Yeah.
and using critical race theory to bolster your argument it's like having a chocolate fire guard. It doesn't stand to scrutiny, and it's divisive. It's not progressive under any. I mean, progressing off a cliff, yeah, but other than that, it's not. It's using valid reasons and everything that people do agree with, and then politicizing it to such a degree is that basically the fundamental message is, if you don't agree with our Marxist solution to dealing with it, then you're part of the problem. And I'm sorry, that is, you're being manipulated, for one, and you're also spreading a very anti-Semitic belief system that is a collectivist belief system. It treats people as groups and not individuals. You're denying the human experience for the virtue signal of group identity, which doesn't exist. Groups do not exist. A group only exists because of individuals. An individual is not a group, right? One requires the other does not.
But they're all selfish and in on it for themselves. They're not even a collective as the way we would.
It's peer pressure. That's the only way that they manage to keep relevant is by appealing to each other through fear. Because if they don't toe the line, they'll get cancelled. They've seen it happen amongst themselves. So they see it happen to a friend of theirs. They then say, well, I didn't really know that person, or I only sort of spoke to them once or twice, or I don't know anything about. It's funny how they suddenly don't know who these people were, even though they were fully supporting them, like Vance being an example.
It's the same in the fandom. Remember when we were being picked on, that someone would come in, they'd make a comment and give us hell, and then all of a sudden they'd pretend that they didn't know what was going on and all, but we were bullies and all. It's the same thing, man. Happens all the time. It's gaslighting as well.
Mass delete tweets that implicate them as well. That's another thing that they do. Well, prove it then. It's all gone. It's like, ha ha ha. Yes, thank God, but screenshots are forever. So, unfortunately, it's just a case of. I mean, I've got a folder of like 1,500 or 1,800. I can't even remember of examples of this kind of abuse, and it's so much that when you're trying to locate individuals within 1,000 plus screenshots of what people have said and done to show, well, this is you. It's hard work, and because they just so many of them keep perpetually putting this stuff out, it's a chore. It becomes very tiring, frankly, and I'm fed up with it. I can't wait for this era to end because I just want all this to stop and go away now. They'll probably stick around out of spite, frankly, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, right? The thing about it is we can we can act differently to them. See, they chose to engage us because we didn't like it, right? If they start that nonsense during RTD's era and say they don't like it, well, then we just ignore them. Let them shout into their little echo chamber. If this era ends up being good, we'll be on here. We'll be talking about it positively. Other channels out there that were negative about Doctor Who, rightly so, in my opinion, will start talking about it negatively. We'll start talking about it positively, and then the tide will completely change because, there'll be a lot of fans that will see them for what they actually are, and they're only doing it out of spite. We never did any of this out of spite. We've been proven right on everything. That's the thing. And the thing about it is, I'm not sitting here bragging, right? Our Lee's not sitting here bragging. Our PD's not sitting here bragging. And no Doctor Who fan that saw this coming is bragging. We just wanted people to listen to us. You fans out there that didn't understand what was going on, you should have listened to us because we've been right on everything.
The biggest abuse out of all this isn't so much the interaction, it's the fact that we've been marginalized and ignored and treated like we just don't exist, which is the biggest insult than anything that anyone can actually say or do, other than being holding us at arm's length. It's the sheer sanctimony of these people. Like, we're beneath them, that we're subhuman, that we're NMDs. And it's so dishonest, and that's the biggest insult above it. And when you still, even to this day, get a post like that saying that this fandom was not inclusive, and like bullshit. Like, what entitled nonsense is that? What a delusional state you have to be in to come out and say something so utterly insulting. If that was true, there was no way that you would be here making that tweet if you were not allowed to be included. The fact you came in and then threw your weight around and started taking over this fandom and telling other people who've been fans of this show for decades to get out the fandom. And you want to sit there and pontificate about inclusivity and diversity and women feeling welcome? Tell that to Melina about feeling welcome as a woman. You tell that to her. Utter rot.
That's what I mean. This is a rot in the fandom. But look, like most rots, it's very hard to get rid of a rot and rust and stuff. But the thing about it is, I truly believe. I mean, look, I seen a tweet by someone out there that I kind of called out, and they said I misrepresented the situation. Read the tweet again. I don't think personally I did, but I didn't want to call because I could see, because one or two start coming in and I could see what was going to happen. So I just backed down, which I shouldn't have really. I should have stuck to my guns because I don't usually back down. But with this person, just for now, I decided I would. But listen, you don't go around mocking and stuff. I did that myself at the start of this era because they were annoying me and obviously they were going after me. But I stopped mocking them after a while because, well, look at it now. We're, as I said, we've been relatively quiet here now for the past, few weeks now. Nothing's happened. I've been ignoring people on Twitter just like Lee does, but there are some that will cross the line and I have to be called out, and that's just the way it is. I'll never stop doing that, and Lee certainly won't anyway. Sure, every time you fucking have Lee on stream, you hear his keyboard going 90 mile an hour. There's always someone fucking riling them up or responding back to him and you should see. Listen, guys, you don't see it, man. I'm gonna tell you right now, the stuff that I've seen flung at Lee, right? I thought the stuff, look, I've been sent some vile and disgusting stuff, but the stuff that gets thrown Lee's way, Jesus, I don't know how he's able to go back on Twitter. It's vile, man, disgusting, homophobic, racist, anti-Semitic, you name it. You get everything gets thrown at him, and guess what? Twitter punishes him. Twitter punishes him all the time, right? All the people, and listen, I've often engaged with some of these people as well. Who the fuck do you think you're talking to? Don't talk to my friend like that. And then what happened? Lee ends up the one getting blocked, and then not blocked. Lee will be the one that'll end up either getting a suspend. But Lee fights it all the time. Lee will not ever If Lee thinks he's right, Lee would rather let his account stay suspended, or not say suspended, but stay restricted for how long it's restricted for, rather than go in and admit something that he believes he truly isn't. And by the way, I've seen these responses. He isn't any of those things that he's being accused of. But the point is, he's right. You know, while it would be easier to just say, yeah, okay, yeah, and then get the 12 hours, right? You can still tweet. Lee would rather not do that. He'd rather fight his corner, and he's right. Fight your corner every bloody time. Don't give these people a bloody inch. And that's why we've always fought on this channel. And shit like that tweet there,
Yeah.
this is the kind of stuff that I do deal with. And if you go back to the start of my channel, that's what I used to do. I used to call these people out. That's why I got so much heat. I called out Crystal D, Ben Cook. I called out this lady several bloody times. I've called out multiple people that are check marks and connected to Doctor Who. I haven't given a shit over the years, and I'll never stop. At the end of the day, right, they're all responsible for what's going on in the fandom, and they're all responsible for supporting this. And now look at the situation that we're in. There is no way of spinning this so-called success anymore. This era failed from top to bottom. That
there were
has been
like
proven. 200
or 300 max people in that photograph, all paying 200 quid to get her autograph, whatever it was. It was more about cosplaying and virtue signaling.
In fairness,
and all the men were thrown to the sides, whilst the women, got to stand in the middle together. And that looks more like a triumphalist movement than activism than fandom to me.
That photograph, right, sums up this and actually is a reflection of this era and what this era has all been about. Now, the interesting thing that I found about this, I haven't actually seen video footage of how many people were actually there. Now, to me, the auditorium that they were in, sorry, why am I pronouncing my words wrong? It didn't look that big, right? And as you said yourself, there was around 200 or 300 people in that photograph. So did 200 or 300 people just show up to see Jodie Whittaker and Mandip Gill? Because I didn't see any more fans than that. You look at the tweets, she had 1,000 people were talking, 1,340 odd tweets talking about Jodie Whittaker. She was trending at that, by the way, over one. I think once you get over 1,000, you start trending. But
must be a slow news day.
But that's what I mean. So this doctor is so popular that on the day of London Comic Con, she had 1,300 tweets. Listen, this she might be popular with all those fans. And look, fair play to them all, right? If they had a good time and they enjoyed it, I'm not going to begrudge them that. This is their era.
Yeah, but how many more people would have enjoyed that if Jodie Whittaker wasn't the Doctor? How many more fans there might have been at that convention? But many have just felt that it doesn't interest them anymore.
Yeah,
I can't support this era.
No, I agree with you. But we look at it this way. This will be the last time they'll be pandered to, and they'll have something like that. Because when Doctor Who comes back, it'll be for everybody. And unfortunately now...
Think about it. They've had her for 5 years. This is her first public live appearance in front of an actual audience since she was cast. This is the only time that they've had since that casting to actually meet her in person at a convention. And all that could be mustered was about 300 maximum.
Oh, Lee.
Yeah.
Lee, this is the comment for the win.
Go on.
There, it's on the screen.
Oh, hold on.
That photo was the entire fan base, says Lee Cameron.
That's what's left of them, yeah.
But look, that's the thing. Look, all joking aside, right? While I do agree with everything that Lee has said there, this would have been so much better if all fans were there and this show was truly for all fans, but obviously it wasn't. But they got that little moment, right? And you are right. This is the first public appearance for her since the Series 11 and the Comic Cons that she did then, because all the rest then from then on were pre-recorded. Obviously, we had the pandemic, but it was even happening before the pandemic, so that's no excuse. They knew that this era was bad, and that's why she never made any public appearances. And listen, they kind of knew that only her fans would turn up, so that I'm pretty sure they weren't worried. But again, a few days before London Comic Con, the rhetoric by these fans were, "Oh, there'll be a few not my doctors there, and they'll probably cause any trouble." Well,
Oh yeah, that lie is spread around. That not only did they say that about us for this Comic Con, the New York Comic Con, people were saying that there were actively people in the audience causing trouble, and that turned out to be a complete lie. Because the organizer was on Twitter, said no event like that happened.
Yeah.
There was no. So again, you know, if you have to lie to try and vilify us, then surely you're not the good guy.
That's
It's
what I
like,
mean.
Really.
That's what I mean. It's all this fake rhetoric. Listen,
Yeah.
as I said, I have no problem if you fans like this era. The problem I've always had is that you just have had a problem with our opinions on not liking it. And because
Or
we
they
haven't liked it,
call our criticism of Jodie Whittaker and Christian harassment and abuse of Jodie Whittaker and Christian. It's like, first of all, they're not on Twitter where we are, so it's not directed at them. I've never engaged with the actors, right? Well, apart from Vinay Patel after he said something pretty fucking awful about a fan. Other than that, but even then, I wasn't, you know, taking him to task, even though he was like, "Get the fuck out of the fandom," which, coming from a terrible writer like that, is embarrassing, frankly. But then at that point, to me, that's really kind of fair game. These are public figures, right? They get paid an awful lot of money.
Yeah.
They ruined our franchise. I'm not going to be friendly about it, but I'm not also going to go and target them. If I wanted to go around and fucking harass them, and, you know, you said, I wouldn't A, do that. B, why would I bother? You know, it's not in our blood. We're, you know, really the mature element of this fandom. These kids act like they're in their 20s. Some of them reaching nearly 30, and they're still acting like teenagers.
yeah, do you know the
You know.
best thing about it is, though? We already see an indication that RTD is going to cast and he's going to bring in writers based on talent or whether he's worked with them before.
Yeah.
Now, again, this is going to upset these fans now because, you know, he's going to bring in writers that he knows, and obviously he'll probably have some new writers, but it probably won't be, and I hate to say this because I hate to use this word, but maybe his writing team won't be as diverse as Chris Chibnall's writing team, and that could cause an issue
God.
with those fans. But I don't care. At the end of the day, this is what I want. I want him to
I
bring
want
in the best
POTs,
people.
of talent. And
Yeah.
the thing,
Yeah,
I'll tell you why they're upset. I'll tell you why they're upset by RTD's return. The reason is when Chibnall was in, they could see he was middle of the road at best. He was mediocre at best, and he was clearly hiring people worse than him, apart from Maxine Alderton, who was much better. And if you look at a lot of these accounts on Twitter, they all claim to be, what are they? Writers.
Oh yeah.
They assert that they are
Writers.
writers. They do everything they can to schmooze in with the establishment at the BBC and Chibnall's people and blow smoke up their arse and chant. They're all doing it not because they love what's been done. They love the fact it's so mediocre they even stand a chance at writing Doctor Who. That's what this is all about.
Yeah.
They want a career at the BBC.
That's
They
what it
want
is.
And
careers
they
at
can't
Big
get
Finish.
it if they use talent, so they have to lower down. They have to lower the standard.
Lower the bar.
And that's
The
exactly
lower
what
the
Chris has
standard, the
done.
better chance they have of getting seen. That's how they see it, you know, whether or not consciously or subconsciously.
And now that's not
clearly.
going to happen. So
And
they're
now,
all going to be out of
now
work.
RTD, the mark of quality is that they don't stand a fucking chance.
They
That's
don't.
why they're pissy about it.
But look, there's plenty to come from them. But I think the best advice, and listen, it's going to be hard to do, and I might fail once or twice myself because These people know how to get under your skin. But at the end of the day, I'll always defend Doctor Who, and they come out and say anything bad about this show,
or the fandom as a whole,
or the fandom, then I'm going to say something. Someone has to hold them to task, and this is the problem. Excuse me. And this is why me, Lee, and others out there get targeted, because there's plenty of us that will hold them to task. Now, we used to be told, even by people on their side of the argument, why are you engaging with these people? Well, if we don't, they run riot in the fandom. They make the fandom even worse than what it is now. And trust me, it can get worse. That's the thing.
Why did Gandhi talk to the British Empire? You know, like, I mean, because they're colonizers who are destroying the things that we love in our culture. You know, it's a scaled down version of that. You know, I'm not saying that we're like Gandhi.
No, I get the comparison.
But you know what I mean?
Making.
It's like, you come into the fandom, you demand diversity and inclusion, you get diversity and inclusion, then you tell us to get the fuck out, and then we film our own thing, and they say, well, why aren't you including us? You know, you've seen the meme, the cycle of woke, inclusion and diversity. But, you know, I'm sorry, you come in, you take it over, it's ours now, get the fuck out, old people. And we're here for diversity inclusion, just not you, and then until it whittles down to a hardcore group of these activists who've squatted in the middle of this fandom, and you see them at that photo opportunity. That's it. That's pretty much all the hardcore people right there.
The funniest
and the exclusion of everyone else.
Yeah, I think the funniest argument that they make, though, for me is that it's middle-aged men that have a problem. Listen, am I going to sit here and deny that there are some middle-aged men out there that don't like Jodie Whittaker's Dr. Costa is? Right? But I think if you look at the ratings, you can clearly see that it's not just men that have left this fandom, middle-aged men. Young men have left this fandom. Mm-hmm. Young women have left this fandom.
You know,
older women.
And bearing in mind, a lot of middle-class men that they're bitching about might actually be fathers who introduced their children to Doctor Who and now feel that it's not good enough to give to their children. It's causing, and you look at, actually, you know, if you look at a lot of kids, people I know who are teachers, for example, tell me that they teach at school. He talks about Doctor Who, they don't even know what the hell he's talking about. They don't watch it. The only people watching this now are millennials and a few Gen Zers, and really, like, any younger than that, very rarely interested. Okay, you might see the little blonde girl that gets trotted out every so often with the Jodie costume with the pushy dad, and that's it. You know, that's all you ever see, and it's like, as long as that little girl's enjoying it, everyone else can piss off. It's like,
yeah, she's enjoying it, but she's also been in other doctors' costumes when the other doctors have been around. Peter Capaldi as well. Like, our dad has, and fair play to him. Look, you know, he even brought her to that London Comic Con as well. She's a fan. You could see, you know, that's a father, you know, love of a show, passing it down to his kid. We don't know what his personal opinions is on this era, but obviously for his daughter, he will, you know, he puts up posts and he'll talk about other doctors as well on the post, and he'll show up a photograph. That's what Doctor Who's all about. My dad introduced me to Doctor Who, Lee. You know, I mean, and then as I told you,
young boys are watching it now.
Yeah,
you know, they're turned off by it.
Yeah, and my brothers used to give me stick for it, right? But when I moved out, then they obviously started watching it themselves, and they went back and, as I said, started off with the classic era and worked their way up again. Then by the time I moved back home, like, it was like, no. So I want to talk to you. You remember this scene in this story, and what did that mean? I'm like, have you been watching Doctor Who? Yeah, we love it. And I was like, but that was the thing. Like, I didn't directly hand it down to them, but because I watched and they used to give me stick, and I used to say, well, you are taking the piss out of me, you have never seen it, so you don't know if it's good, or I wouldn't watch that shit. And I said, well, it's good, watch it. And you went and they watched it, and then they obviously became fans. So in an indirect way, I kind of handed it down to me brothers, like, you know. So I mean, this is what I mean. These fans don't get it, right? Not only is there us fans like us have an emotional attachment to it, you know, it's either being passed down from our fathers or mothers, because everybody sat around back in the day and watched TV. So even my mum, believe it or not, is a huge sci-fi horror fan, like, you know, and she's been like
My
since
mum
the
is a big
fucking
science fiction fan, but she hates Doctor Who. Like, I mean,
yeah.
she sat down with me to watch the first Jodie Whittaker. What was it? The Resolution, or whatever it was.
The Daleks, yeah.
We couldn't get
The
through 10 minutes of
Dalek.
it. She was like, "What is this rubbish?" And she even agreed with me that, you know, it's not Doctor, it's not the Doctor. The Doctor's a man, and she agreed, you know. And she's very liberal-minded. She's very left-wing, and she conceded that it just didn't work.
Yeah,
And that was just an
didn't.
outside, you know, it's outsider looking in, going, "Well, that's
Well, it
Doctor."
didn't work because they didn't do it for the right reasons. There was no build up to this. There was no justification for it. The justification that the BBC had at the time was that the ratings weren't doing too well under Moffat near the end. That's fair enough.
Oh, I just saw leave Sue Pollard alone. Got a funny story about that. My mum used to be pursued by Sue Pollard, who took a shine to my mum. She said she wasn't really offended by it because she was so funny to hang around with.
Yeah, I say Sue Pollard would be actually fun to hang around with, but what you could look at, the bottom line is this, right? As long as this show's on TV, right, and as long as it keeps getting done wrong, I'm not going to stop complaining until it's done right.
What annoys me is that these people say criticizing this era is fine, but it has to be constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Well, we gave you constructive criticism. I was told to die of cancer after I did that. So I don't see why I need to give any more nuanced arguments. I think everything that's been said has already been said. So you didn't listen to us then, not going to listen to us anyway, regardless whether it's constructive or non-constructive criticism. We've said all the arguments. We don't.
It doesn't matter. We've been proven right.
It doesn't matter anyway, because if we don't bloody like it, we don't bloody like it. Don't have to give a bloody reason. We can bloody well say what we bloody like when we bloody want to.
Exactly.
And if you don't like it, tough titties.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, though. And this is what I'd say to these fans from day one. You know, you don't agree with me, that's fine. You don't agree with Lee, that's fine. Don't agree with Rabbi or others out there, that's fine too. There is such a thing called the block button and an unsubscribe button and a mute button and all of these other buttons. See, here's the problem I have. You little idiots don't actually need to be listening to us at all. You could just ignore us, but you choose to engage. So if you engage and you call us sexist or not my doctors and stuff like this, well, I'm sorry. But we're going to defend ourselves, right? We're going to defend the show that we love, and we're going to tell you that you're wrong, because you are wrong. You've been proven wrong. We've been proven right, whether you like it or not. That's the fact of the reality. He's had these little victories over the last 5 years, but at the end of the day, this was a long-term battle, a long-term war. We knew we'd win it in the end. There were times where I thought we probably wouldn't get out of this dark place, but we have. And he has lost. And you need to accept that. And he's got 2 more episodes of this Doctor. Embrace her. I could see that there are genuine fans that do love her there at that Comic-Con. Fair enough. Right? The problem I've always had, which is, as I said, is you have not been able to accept that the fans out there and British public have tuned out. That's not our fault. And I know you will come up with the excuses after the RTD comes back in a blaze of glory and his ratings shoot up. I know what the rhetoric will be then. Well, it's not my Doctor's fault that the Jodie Whittaker era didn't get as many viewers. And then you will be admitting to yourselves finally that this era failed. And then you will be hypocrites because you can't get over your hatred for people like me. We're not my Doctors. That was a hashtag, and I don't know how many times I have to keep telling you that. Yes, I did use it. Lee didn't use it. right? Lee has openly said, I never used that hashtag. And he's right, he's never used that hashtag because I know he's never used it because I met him around the same time the hashtag was going about. He never used it, right? Never. He never agreed with that hashtag in the first place because he didn't believe hashtags worked. And he was right. Most of the time, hashtags don't mean fuck all, right? But as I said, as soon as I seen a radical element, I seen a lot of racist stuff, right, being said on Twitter with that hashtag, and I decided I was not going to use that hashtag anymore, and I never did, right? Never did. And then when I told people on this channel that we're using that hashtag, not to use that hashtag, everybody stopped using that hashtag. Nobody uses that hashtag anymore, right? But it's you dehumanize us, you dehumanize the British public. I even had someone right the other day, right? They've blocked me and Lee because they're weak. That's what they do. See, when they're hit with facts and logic, they run, right?
Yeah.
But do you know what the first line out of their mouth was? Oh, look at another troll, blah blah blah. And I just wrote back, get new material, mate. It's getting old. I've heard them all before. And then within a couple of tweets, then I was blocked. Lee was blocked. They can't take the facts. The fact of the matter is, whether you like it or not, this era failed with the British public.
It's because they're inclusive and diverse, you see.
Eddie, well, they can take their look at you can take this and listen to me very carefully when I say this, right? You can take your inclusion and your version of diversity, and you can take it, get out of this fandom, and don't let the door hit you on the way out. We want RTD back that understands true inclusion and diversity, and that's what we'll get during his era, right? It will be done with respect, and if he brings in characters, they will have character development, they'll have a story, they'll have a plot, they'll have a subplot, they will have everything that will have fans saying, yeah, great character, right? Just like with Captain Jack, just like with Moffat, with Vastra and Jenny, characters like that, well developed, right? River Song is another one, even though I think she was overdeveloped, but still, you know, all thought and process went into all of these characters. They weren't just shoehorned in just to get brownie points with a certain minority in this fandom, right? And listen, it's not really their fault, right? Let's be honest. Chibnall has pandered to them anyway. They gained a bit of power in the fandom, but they went the wrong way about it. What these fans should have realized and should have understood is that they needed to have a little bit of understanding for fans like me and other fans out there, especially long-term fans. This was a shock to the system. This wasn't going to be easy to take. But instead of trying to ease us in and to say all the right and do all the right things, Jodie Whittaker, the media, and all of these fanatics that I'm talking about now, you decided to go the wrong way about it. And this is why we are here right now today, right? And you know what? We saw this coming. And if you had to listen to us in the first place, we wouldn't be in the state that we're in now, hoping that RTD can resurrect this show. If he can't do it, right, and this is the sad thing, if he can't do it, I do believe he can, by the way. I just want to make that clear. But if he can't, if by some miracle it doesn't happen, this show is gone. It's off air, and it's not coming back for at least 10, 15 years maybe. We'll have another long hiatus. They wouldn't be able to bring this back in 2 or 3 years' time. Damage is done. You would literally have to leave this off air for a few years to get the stink of this era well away from this show. And they'd have to start from scratch when they come back again. They'd have to reboot it again, basically. They would, because it's not gonna, no. That's the damage he's done, though. That's the legacy he leaves behind. And yes, Jodie Whittaker is responsible for some of that as well, because she didn't help the situation. But her fans certainly didn't help her and didn't help themselves either. You might call us the bullies and the bigots and the haters and all, but as I've always said from day one, it's projection. That's exactly what you guys are, and you hate yourselves first, so you are taking out on us. And mousies are insecure as well, and that's why we have stupid tweets from Time Ladies and Crystal D's and the Ben Cooks of the world, because they're all insecure about themselves, right? They're projecting onto this fandom. They've been projecting onto this fandom from day one, and it's absolutely disgusting. These people actually need medical help, not the fandom and ruining fandoms. You need to go and talk to a shrinkies. Clearly you have all the issues, right? But don't take it out on fans that love a TV show, right, that has brought so much joy, passion, and you know, it's been part of my real life as well. You know, I've included it in my marriage and stuff like that. This show means the world to me. It's passed down by my father. There's an emotional attachment that I have to this show that you will never have for this show. Right? That's the difference. You guys will never understand how we feel about this show because you don't have the same emotional attachment, because for you guys, all it is well, which character has a rainbow flag? What's the gender of this character? Who are they sleeping with? That's what matters to you guys. And it was proven when Chris Chibnall pandered to you in the last episode, because the one thing that you were talking about, but with Eva Daleks was, oh, yes, she's come out to Dad about having kids about the doctor, and it's made me gay, and now I feel welcome to part of the fandom, and I'm just, oh. That's all you cared about, right? But you didn't care about the damage it was doing to the show or what it was doing to the ratings, right? That's all you cared about. That's the difference between us and you guys, and that will always be the difference between us and you guys. Yes, we are all for inclusion, diversity. We've never said we aren't, right? But the most important thing is that Doctor Who is treated with the utmost respect, and the characters and the storylines, the plot lines that you're introducing into this, and all the politics and the diversity and inclusion that you want to add into this show has to be done with the utmost respect and done properly. And Chris Chibnall has not done that in 3 series, and what are we on now? 4 specials now, right? He's been absolutely dire. But you don't care about that because all you want is the end game. And if you think you are getting the end game, and the end game, by the way, is that Yaz and the Doctor kiss, by the way, if anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, but that's what I mean. Matt Stevens has already indicated you won't get a happy ending. So basically what Chris Chibnall has done is they heard about Tasman during Series 12, after Series 11, and they decided not to put it into Series 12 even though they knew about it. But then for the last series, because the ratings were doing bad during Series 12, they decided, well, we'll pander to a small minority because we might boost the ratings. But unfortunately, it had the opposite effect. And that last episode was an absolute disgrace. And I will give the floor to Lee on this part because he can talk about it better than I can. But Lee made the point that Dan, Elton Yaz, should never have happened, and Lee will give his reasons why. So Lee, you tell people why that scene in particular for you roiled you up.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, every time I bring this up to fans on this of this era, they can't seem to extrapolate into the real world.
Right.
Whenever I bring in real world implications,
What's
they
the
always
response?
they always draw it back to the story. Yeah, but because it helped. Yeah, it's like, no, again, and every time I keep saying the real world, no, they only go back to talking about the context of the story within, such as it is in the show, and I'm like, I can't seem to get through.
Yeah.
That the message in this can have an impact in the real world. One person actually did say, "Oh well, if I had someone who helped me find the person, to open me up to the person who I fell in love with and help me. That would be, I'd like that. Yeah, great, good for you if it works out. But imagine being, I don't know, a 15-year-old lesbian or gay guy or whatever, and you're in love with your best friend, and you go and tell another friend that you're in love with that friend, and then they go off and tell that friend, and that friend reacts badly, like, no, I don't want to know you. I'm going to get my friends to beat you up now.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that will happen, but it can happen. And it does happen.
Right, but can I ask you, do you think that, right, so you're saying that you can't really get them to kind of understand where you're coming from. Do you think it's because they genuinely can't see it, or they know that you're right, but because the end game is more important for them, they just choose to ignore, which would make them worse?
I think what it is they haven't struggled.
That's it.
In their lives with actual homophobia, because it's now so accepted and mainstream and commonplace. It's almost an alien concept to be homophobic, really. And so they find very spurious things to complain about, but it's not real in terms of, having a fist in your face.
No, I agree with you. I don't think it is like the way it was.
They don't think about the consequences because they've never had to really think about the consequences, because they don't live in an age where they want to talk about how everything's homophobic and horrendous out there and racist and sexist, and it's not nearly as bad as it was. Nowhere, nothing like it. Okay, that they are closeted. They are, kids can come out these days at school and it's celebrated, and they're told how brave and stunning they are. And good. It's better than what I had to endure. But it's really a case of they've never really thought about the implications. Maybe it wouldn't happen as much today. I can well believe that, but it doesn't mean to say it couldn't. And I'm just worried and thinking, well, imagine someone being influenced by that. And, it may not be the person who's going through that. It might be the friend who knows about a friend who fancies someone on the quiet and then goes and outs him thinking he's doing the right thing or she's doing the right thing. And it turns out not to be a good decision. And again, it's not so much the outing in itself, but it's also the notion that by betraying someone's confidence and trust is a good thing, and celebrating that as a good thing. I don't think that's a good thing, right? Call me old-fashioned, but I don't think that that's a good thing.
No, I agree with you. I don't think Dan had the right to go. It's like, even if it was a man-woman relationship, I would have a problem with that if a friend of mine went and told a girl that I fancied, that I actually fancied her. That's not his.
We know in this instance it's the doctor and the doctor, well, doctor in cosplay, but is not going to turn around and act violently towards. Obviously we know that isn't the case.
But we still don't know whether she's going to reject Jazz or not, because the Jodie's doctor.
Well, clearly not,
because of the bad writing.
They've clearly implied through what Stevens has said that it's going to be the kiss is coming, right? We know that's going to happen. But that's neither here nor there. It's Doctor Who is a show that's always been for the impressionable younger audience, to give them a certain moral compass and a certain way of behaving. And I don't think, we've seen how awful the Doctor was towards cancer sufferers, and how that message was completely misread. The whole situation with the civil rights movement in Rosa was terribly delivered as well. the bad father tropes. We've seen all these things. It's not sending out very good message. Genocide is cool now.
Yeah.
And then, you know, outing someone
Change
and
Dr.
betraying
Vlad,
their
shouldn't we?
trust and confidence is also a message you're sending out to impressionable minds.
Yeah, and let's not forget as well, you know, if one of your loved ones has cancer, remember the doctor is socially
remember to
awkward
shut
and
your
can't-
mouth and
Yeah,
don't tell anyone
don't
because you don't want to
say
make them
any-
feel
Well, I
socially
can't
awkward.
talk about
That's
sexual.
it,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, that's another lesson as well, you know. So yeah, plenty of the wrong lessons, but again, this sums up this.
You have to be a
This,
sociopath to write these. I'm sorry. You
there's
have to
something going
be
on
without any level of empathy. If you're writing this to pander to people because you think it's popular, rather than thinking it through and the implications of what you're actually saying, and having a bit of empathy or sympathy with people who might be suffering with cancer or might be in the closet or whatever, and just kind of
Well, the
ignoring that, really.
Well, the interesting thing is going to be this, you know. So in the last
Story of my
episode,
life, story of my life.
he pandered to them right at the end, right? But now
As an
he has.
afterthought.
But here's the thing, yeah, exactly.
way.
But the Sea Devils are coming back. So again, now what he's doing is he's trying to bring in fans like me because he knows we like the Sea Devils, right? But you see, the thing about it is, what will be interesting will be because he's pandered to the other side and clearly pandered to them now, right? To try boost the ratings, which backfired, by the way. It'll be interesting to see how this Easter special is actually going to do because, you know, I don't think the Sea Devils are going to rescue this, and if and I believe that a few critics have already seen this, and it hasn't went down too well. So apparently, it's not even that great. So if he's pandering to them again, it's going to be very interesting to see who tunes in to watch this, is what I'm trying to say. Because I don't believe 2 million tuned in to watch Eve the Daleks, as you know yourself. You know, 15 minutes in rates as a view. So we don't know how many actually tuned out after the 15-minute mark or whatever it was.
Tuned in at the end to watch.
Or tuned in at the end, yeah. Because they were waiting on Strictly.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing really that it's got going for it is obviously the Sea Devils,
and
which
Pirates.
might win a few people back.
And
I'm not
Pirates.
sure the Pirates thing is going to be a particular sway.
Well, I do like Pirates, but
yeah, I still, you know, just watch Pirates, you know. And the other thing as well is it's been off the air for a few months, so people might, oh, it's on, let's go and watch you, because they will hopefully have forgotten what happened. But I don't know. Alternatively, it might just completely bomb and no one tunes in. You know, it might
Easter Sunday.
We'll see.
Easter Sunday. So we're not far away now. When is Easter? It's only a few weeks away, isn't it?
It's in. Isn't it in April? Or
March?
Is
it in April?
Oh, because it keeps moving around, doesn't it?
It does. It keeps moving. Easter keeps moving around. Hold on, I'll Google it. When is Easter this year?
I'm doing it. Easter.
All right, you do it. You do it. Go on, because you're faster typing. But anyway, yeah.
17th of April.
Right, 17th of April.
It's on a Sunday, so Sunday. I don't know. I because it's on a Sunday anyway. It's not as if it's.
Well, it's an Easter Sunday, don't a lot of families go out Easter Sunday and have dinner, and some people go to the pub.
I mean, it's not moving from its regular spot because it's Easter, as we know, is on a Sunday. I mean, yes, on Easter Monday, so they could have put it on an Easter Monday, but it's on Easter Sunday, so that fits in with where its regular spot is anyway. So I can't see it.
Oh, hold on! Someone's saying in the chat that it's April 15th. It's on a Good Friday.
They're moving on to they said Easter.
They wouldn't move. Hold on, they wouldn't put Doctor Who on a Good Friday.
It's not going to be a Good Friday, is it? It's not going to be a Good Friday.
Oh well, if it's on Friday, they're fucked.
Hold on. They can't put Doctor Who on a Good Friday. Even I'm not religious, but you don't put Doctor Who on a Good Friday.
Look,
that's where you watch The Passion of the Christ and Ben-Hur and all those other movies. The one where the temple gets
all I can
destroyed.
find is it's set for Easter, Easter period. I can't see where it says. Can you tell us where you saw that? That would be useful.
Doctor Who Easter Special 2020.
Oh no, you meant Good Friday was the start of Easter. Forkin meant that Good Friday is the start of Easter. He didn't mean it's on Easter. It's on Good Friday.
Doctor Who special confirmed for Easter. Radio Times. Here we go.
Hang on.
It just says over Easter weekend. So I don't know. I can't see anyone saying when.
I'm trying to tell him, Forkin. I'm trying to tell him.
What?
What?
He said Good Friday is the start of Easter. It's not on Good Friday. That's just the start of Easter.
Oh.
So it probably
Right.
is on that Easter Sunday. You're probably right.
Right, so it will be Easter Sunday. And listen, we predicted that on this channel the day RTD was actually announced. It made sense. Like, you know, the time frame to give him enough time, this is what we said. And this is the thing, we should be delighted. Yeah, a lot of fans are kind of pissed that we have to wait a certain amount of time, right? But at the end of the day, we have to wait 18 months in between a Chibnall era season, right? For the first couple of seasons. So I don't mind waiting because I know that RTD, when he comes back, he's just going to give us something absolutely spectacular. Like, he starts off with the 60th. So what a way to start. So I'm not worried. Give him all the time in the world. I want him to get this right. Because remember, he can't get this wrong. He has to basically hit the ground running again like he did back in 2005. So he has to repeat the same trick yet again. But if anybody can, and it is, you know, Lee, everybody's made the point. You know, I don't think these fans realise, you know, bringing RTD back is basically everybody admitting that they got it wrong. You don't bring back RTD after Chris Chibnall if Chris Chibnall was going to do something. You don't go back to the original showrunner.
And with streamers going on, it looks like I did ruin the show. It's like, yes, you did. That's why RTD's coming back.
That's what I mean. So
Yeah,
the
exactly.
RTD wouldn't even be coming back. That's the thing. And again, it's something that these fans don't recognise. And then you have some already digging up the dirt of what happened during the first Eric's. They already setting up the fans. You know, they want the negativity around it, but they are saying, oh, they're worried about, you know, what the culture will be like because of what was like back in, when RTD was first running the show. Well, that was the culture at the BBC. And I don't know how many times I have to keep telling you this. This is Bad Wolf Productions Doctor Who now. And I think a lot of fans are still out there thinking that BBC are calling the shots on this. I don't know how many times you have to be told. BBC ain't calling no shots. They have very it's all, yeah, exactly. The only thing that BBC is going to be used for is to show it on the second channel. That's it, really. Right? BBC Productions is there to distribute it to all around the world as they do. That's their job, right? Bad Wolf, they're dealing with the writing side, directing side, and all of this other stuff, right? And then back to it, Sony money. So JFO, because JFO sends us some stuff on Twitter, so I'll read out his comments. No, we can probably assume Tennant will be back for the 60th. Do you think Matt Smith will come back? I hope he does, and he has openly said he would love to. Well, if RTD wants him to come back, I'm pretty sure he'll return. As for Tennant, I think that's the worst kept secret in the fandom right now and in the media right now. I think it's almost guaranteed. But again, we did speak about this on this channel a long time ago about his return. You know, when we get most rumors, you kind of think, try figure out how does it make sense him coming back and stuff like this. And I do think people have got their wires crossed. I would be pretty shocked if he's going to be starting off Series 14. I think he is featuring in the 60th. Would I love to see Matt Smith? Look, I'd love to see Matt Smith and I'd love to see Peter Capaldi. I'd love to see Peter Capaldi more to be quite honest, because we already had Matt Smith in a special. And if he just stopped moaning all the time and shit, I wouldn't mind seeing Christopher Eccleston back. But
Yeah.
I don't think that's ever going to happen because he's been going around again lately, and he just can't. He just look. Obviously, the man has been damaged for what happened back then, and I do have to say it was horrible the way he was treated, and his marriage and was falling apart, and he had an eating disorder. So he did, and I think his father died as well. So look, he didn't have a good run, right, in that year that he was doing Doctor Who. But man, there's only so long you can hold a grudge for, and I don't think this man can let go. Now, if RTD can convince him to come back, I think that would be the coup of the 60th anniversary, to be quite honest with you. I think it'd be even more of a coup than Peter Capaldi coming back, because Christopher Eccleston has indicated that I think he joked once that he'll come back for the 75th anniversary or something like that. He was joking because someone said, would he come back because to talk about him doing the 50th, and he was interviewed, and he says, then after it was decided that he wasn't coming back, the decision was made, he actually came out and said, oh yeah, I'll probably come back. I think it was for the 75th or the 90th anniversary or 100th anniversary or something like that, like joking as if to say, I'll never be back on the show again. So if he can put his differences aside, and him and RTD can make up, or whoever he has the problem with, then there could be a chance. The fact that he's doing Big Finish is a big deal, by the way. Even though, I haven't really spoke about it. We did that one video when he did return, but that was a big moment for him to come back and even be comfortable being in that role again, whether it is audio or not. I've seen footage of him actually in the booth talking into the mic and stuff, and he's doing all the hand actions and stuff, and it was nice to see. But I would love to see that on screen, but we all know what he's like, so we just have to see what he does. But look, I would love it. I think, and I'd love to see Paul McGann come back as well. I think that's long overdue.
We saw him in a minisode last time. That's it.
Yeah, but I have heard some interesting news about McGann, and I'm just trying to see if I can actually share it, which is all, because there might be something. I'll say no more than that. But it'll be interesting to see what RTD does for the 60th. It's going to be a multi-doctor story. I wouldn't be so sure about that. See, here's the thing. A lot of fans automatically think it is going to be a multi-doctor story, but I would not be sure about that. Listen, Moffat did a multi-doctor story. Would RTD have done a multi-doctor story if he was still there? If you look at his run, I don't think so. So I know fans are thinking automatically he will do a multi-doctor story, but I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure it will be a multi-doctor story. Now, it's not that I've heard that, but it's just what I've heard that Chris Chibnall is doing. I don't think there will be a multi. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens to Centenary first. And if the Centenary goes the way I think it's going to go, well, then we can rule out a multi-doctor story for the 60th. I'd love to see McGann get his own spin-off series as Raymond Williams. Well, you know what they say, sometimes you might get your wish if you wish hard enough. How can they justify a multi-doctor story when Whittaker has just left and her replacement has not even had 10 seconds to establish himself? Because, but you are all assuming that the doctor, again, that the new doctor is going to be in, if there is a multi-doctor story, that this new doctor is going to appear in the 60th anniversary. Nothing's guaranteed right now. remember, I have heard some things about what's supposed to be happening in the 60th anniversary, right? But then I've heard other stuff as well that contradicts the stuff that I've gotten. And the reason why there is because, well, RTD is still probably in the process of putting the plans in place for the 60th and hasn't quite figured out what he's going to do yet. But if rumours are true, the 14th and companion have been locked down, signed, sealed, and delivered. So we will just have to wait and see. But again, we're all just speculating here. Look, we're not too far away. Not too far away. April's not too far away. Then we have one more to go. But we do have to wait until fucking October. Is it the centenary? November, October? When is it? November?
October, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
October. So I remember then that's 2022. So then we don't have any Doctor Who then coming New Year's. It'll be the first time since Chibnall took over that there'll be no Doctor Who over the Christmas or New Year period, which will be weird because that's never happened
No. It's always had
before.
something.
That hasn't happened since the show came back in 2005. So that's going to be a weird experience because that'll be the first time, folks. Think about it. We're not going to have Doctor Who unless
Sure, it's happened before.
unless there's a surprise somewhere.
Yeah, for what you wish for.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Oh,
Sometimes
that's it. But look, all I'll say to you is that from things I'm hearing, there's a lot of things to get excited about. And if we've the stuff that we do already know, he's assembling his team, as you know, and he's bringing back some writers that he trusts, and I'm pretty sure there'll be new names in there as well. I don't think it will be all the old faces, so I don't know what the other side are complaining about because he has other writers as well that he's worked on different shows as well, and he knows them and knows how talented they are. So, I wouldn't rule out new writers either. I'm just hoping that Murray Gold's announced as the composer, but we'll have to see. There's other good composers out there as well, so we'll have to wait and see. But look, plenty of stuff to look forward to. It might be a show with Bradley, Fourth Doctor, be a neat trick for the 60th, says Fork and Hell. No, I think Bradley is done playing the Fourth Doctor now. Sure, Big Finish have replaced him. I think he's done now. I mean, he's not getting any younger either. I think we keep forgetting that he's getting older now. So yeah, he's not playing the Doctor anymore in the audios. They've got someone else now. I think they got the guy that originally used to do it or something before Bradley started doing it, because obviously when he did the show then people wanted audios with him. But I think now he's gone and they've got a new fella in. I think it's the fella that originally did it because everybody's praising him. So yeah, he's done. So I don't think he'll come back to the TV show again. And by the way, actually, I'm actually going to say this, right? I honestly do believe that was the one thing that Peter Capaldi should never have suggested. Because Moffat wanted to do this story and he couldn't think of it how to do it or an actor to bring in to play the Fourth Doctor originally, and it was Peter Capaldi that suggested, well, why don't you just get David Bradley that played William Hartnell and then the Doctor in Adventure in Space and Time. And that's in an interview, by the way. You can go and check that. That was actually Peter Capaldi's suggestion. Now, I could understand why he suggested it, because he was a fan like us. We've all read his fan letter and all. He truly was a fan of Doctor Who, and I could understand why because he knew fans would have loved to see the Fourth Doctor. But I have to be honest, for me, it should never have happened in the first place. William Hartnell's legacy should have stayed intact. Now, I don't think it has been tarnished, but not without the want of trying with Stephen Moffat, with the way he wrote him in Twice Upon a Time. But his legacy remains. But I don't know, unless you're bringing this deep fit, if you get permission to use his face and you can use this new technology, then I might be on board for it. But not getting other actors to play the First Doctor ever again, I'll be happy with that, because leave it well be. If an actor who's played the Doctor has sadly passed away, leave it well alone.
Yeah.
Leave their legacy secure, unless there's something in there, because I know a lot of celebrities are doing it now, but obviously not for the older Doctors. But I know there are celebrities out there that put it in their will that they can use their face and their image rights or whatever. Yeah.
It wasn't the first time we missed a festive special. It was after series 11 was the first time we had, because it was like a year before they showed Resolution.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's happened before.
All right, so it's
Chibnall was
happened
the first
twice.
time it's happened, yeah.
Right, so twice on that Chibnall. There you go.
Yeah, it's happened on Chibnall twice.
Well, Chibnall be gone, so it's not really his fault. But
Oh,
still,
that says it all, doesn't it?
But there you go again. He's bailing. But there you go. He's bailing again. He's bailing. He's bailing on the.
Oh, I don't care. Look, what's better? A year of more like Chibnall, or one more Chibnall special, or a year without it? I'm happy with that.
That was a good year.
Yeah, I'll wait.
I'd rather have nothing than.
Listen, we'll be waiting here. We'll be waiting here for RTD's reboot again, and hopefully, as I said, it will be worth the wait. I mean, look, he's not going to be any worse. He's not, and
well, it's because it's not fucking possible.
And that's what I said. Look, even if he gives us the same level that he did in 2005, we've watched his era right on this channel, and we've enjoyed it so much. So we know for a fact it'll be enjoyable and there'll be interesting stories. But the difference is obviously we do believe he will be better, because he's obviously been out there.
Oh, sorry, I'm reading this crap wrong. It was because they moved it from Christmas Day to 1st of January, so dates aren't lining up.
Right, so
I'm sure we're missing one somewhere.
I don't think so. I don't think we did. I think this is the first time. I honestly do. Since 2005.
You might be right, actually.
I think they just moved it from Christmas Day to New Year's Day. Because remember, even Moffat came back to do Twice Upon a Time because they didn't want to lose the Christmas slot. So he did that. But then next year, it was New Year's. It was New Year's Day. So we haven't. This is the first time we're actually going to not have Doctor Who over in the Christmas and New Year period. And you know what? When Lee puts it the way that he puts it, I actually don't mind, to be quite honest. It will be weird, don't get me wrong, but you know what? That wait will be worth it. You know, what a way to come back 60th anniversary. What a bang. And then next year, then the year after that, then think about it's only 6 weeks then. The new year starts 2023, and then all the hype and the talk will be about Series 14. And it'll be interesting to see when he releases Doctor Who, because remember this in reality, I think under RTD it was originally between September and October when the show was actually released, in the autumn. It was in the autumn schedule, but under Chibnall, they've moved it to the spring. It's always been especially this one, wasn't it? This one was early. So, and will it go back to Saturday nights? That's another thing.
Yeah, I think so. And and JT from the Spacebook was quite right. Doctor Who traditionally was an autumn affair, and it works better in that period of time, rainy days and whatnot, and it's getting colder. You want to sit and watch TV. You want to watch Doctor Who.
That's it.
The nights get drawing in. I mean, that's when it works the best. You know, in springtime it's still bloody sunlight, and you want to be outside because the weather's improving, and it does. None of these decisions make any sense. This whole thing's just been bungled from day one.
Yeah.
I think it's going to take someone with clear vision and fiscal and creative sense to return to Doctor Who and to put it back where it really rightfully belongs and where it works best. So I think RTD will fix all these. Well, he should do, and that's assuming, of course, that something bigger and supposedly better doesn't come along and snaps all these places up. But I'm sure with Sony backing it and RTD backing the helm, it should become that prime franchise once more.
Yeah.
I think it will, though. That's the thing. I'm just checking something here.
Yeah, I think you're right from what I'm seeing, the evidence-wise. Just going for it now.
Well, it needs to move and it needs to go to a prime time slot. But actually, I just wanted to check something. Argyros is actually right. Believe it or not, Series 1 of Doctor Who started on the 26th of March and it ran until June 18th, 2005. So it was in the summer.
Yeah.
So it wasn't actually the autumn. So where did I get where did I think that was autumn?
Well, I mean, Classic
Was
Who
it
used to be
Moffat?
on in the autumn. I think most of the run of Doctor Who's been in the autumn. Moving it around, I think that started under Capaldi's run, didn't he? They kept shifting that all over the globe, not just the time but the dates. And I don't know, it's when they started doing year breaks and things like that, it just seemed to sort of mess with the schedules, didn't it?
Yeah.
Which didn't help. You've got to keep it consistent so people know when to expect it when it's on, and you need to organize it and plan it better so it's when you expect it, and when it works most.
There we go.
Oh yeah, because they put an extra special on, didn't they, on Capaldi's for 2016? They put Mysterio and Wives of River Song, Husbands of River Song, and then Return of Mysterio. That's where I was getting confused. 17. Yeah,
just looking at the wiki, man. I mean, even looking back in 2005, how successful it actually was. Did Moffat change it to the autumn then? Is that where I'm getting confused? Because you are right about RTD.
Yeah. He did it for the anniversary, didn't he?
I do agree with Lee. I remember, obviously, Doctor Who back in the day, Classic Who was in the autumn because it was always cold and it was raining outside and you'd sit around the table. Maybe, look, maybe that would be the way to... Maybe that'd be the way to go, actually.
Yeah.
Go back to an autumn time slot, but then again, it's going to be up against real competition, and especially if it went on the Saturday night slot, maybe easing it in would probably be the best situation here.
Ease it in, baby. Ease it in.
Ease it in. Best course of action. Yeah. So if it's in spring, March.
Slowly.
If he releases it in March again, I'll have no look. It'll give us something to look forward to anyway. Yeah. And look, on that RTD as well, if you think about it, we will get that Christmas special because I've put Raymond Williams' comment up because, as I've always said to you guys, you have to watch everything that RTD does, right? Tweets, interviews, because there's always something more going on, right? And Raymond Williams has actually put this up. He says, RTD put a picture of himself with a Christmas hat on. I suspect he's already got the Christmas slot back.
Yeah.
So there you go. If he has, right, if he did that right and he put nothing else and there was nothing in context, that's him basically telling us, I'm telling you, I know this man inside out. Marty will tell you if he was here because this is his era. He'll tell you. He knows this man inside out as well. We know how he conducts himself in interviews and the way he words things. He's a very clever man. So if he's done that and he hasn't put any context to it or wasn't around Christmas time and he's thrown that picture of himself up with a Christmas hat, well then Christmas specials are back. Now, if he put it up around the Christmas period, well then that could be just him with a Christmas hat on and we can't read too much into it. But if it was put up after the fact, then Christmas specials are back. Yeah. And you know what? That's where Doctor Who belongs. Christmas Day special. Sitting down after your dinner, after you have your turkey, your ham, your stuff, and all your little goodies, and your stomach is bursting out your jeans or whatever you're wearing, and you want to sit down, and you sit down and you're half asleep watching the Christmas special. Yeah. That's what Doctor Who, and then you wake up, then you realise you've missed half of it, and then you have to watch it again. But that's what Christmas is all about.
Yeah, exactly.
And even Billy Piper and Matt Smith had a problem with it when they found out that Doctor Who was on New Year's Day. So they even questioned that decision. The BBC forced Moffat to split the series into two halves under Smith from Series 6 and then started moving it around under Capaldi. Yeah, I know. That's absolutely spot on.
They want to put season hiatus.
And that was the problem. But look, there's one thing I will say about the Peter Capaldi era, especially. They moved him around, as you said, quite a lot. But considering he didn't have locked in time slot, you actually look at the numbers that he done.
Late as well.
Yeah, exactly. And if you look at the numbers he's actually done, well, all of this rhetoric that Whittaker's era has performed better than the Peter Capaldi era is actually nonsense. Go back and look at the AI. Go back and look at the overnights. The consolidated figures are the big one, by the way.
Drinking now?
But look at them all, right? There's no way that the Chibnall era is just bad on every single level, and to even compare it to Peter Capaldi's era is an absolute joke. But he was the doctor to replace he was the doctor that was replaced by Whittaker, so they're always going to target him.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is that if you actually analyze Peter Capaldi's numbers and take in all the factors of being moved around, not having a settled time slot, and also when the time, sometimes it started in early spring, then it'd be late spring. It wasn't settled. He did superb. Could you imagine? Look, we do have our flaws with Moffat's writing, but if you think about it, if that Peter Capaldi's era was on a settled time slot, right, hadn't it been moved around, hadn't a split, including Matt Smith as well there, I don't think season 6 would have suffered as much if it hadn't been split in two. But you could see why they split it in two, because one half is completely different to the other half, let's be honest. One half is actually half decent and the other half is absolutely rubbish. But BBC did have a lot of influence, but this is the difference this time. BBC have no influence. Yeah. So all of this forced diversity, forced inclusion and forced political crap that they've been inserting in is gone now. What RTD will do is he'll put story first, but all of that stuff that I talked about that Chris Chibnall forced in, RTD will do it right. He'll do it respectfully. He'll build characters. He will, if he's trying to send a message to the audience, he'll do it in a way that's not hitting you across the head with a hammer. This is how genius this man is. We don't know, and you know what? This time, remember, guys, when he came in 2005 and then when he left, yeah, we were gutted, but we didn't really appreciate what we had, right? It was only after Moffat we kind of appreciated RTD a little bit more, because remember when it started going wrong for Moffat, then we realised what we had under RTD. Now he's coming back now, right? So we mustn't make that same mistake a second time. We know what we're going to get. with RTD. So what I would say to you guys, look, we'll see what happens with the casting. I do believe he's going to cast a man anyway. But what I would say to you guys is, if he does that, and if a lot of you have been waiting on that, and that's the thing that will make you go and give him a chance, please do. Please do, and support him. He needs all the support he can get now, because he's coming into a job and a situation that, I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but when he brought it back in 2005, right, and the struggles he had to try get that going, right, are not as bad as the struggles he's
Yeah.
going to have now, right? This is the back in 2005 is nothing compared to what he's going to be dealing with now. So he needs all of that support. So if cast a bloke and that's the trigger that makes you, some of you guys out there, support him, please do support him, right? Because I'm telling you now, all of this nonsense about the timeless children being eradicated and all of this is not going to happen under him. As I said, 2 episodes for Chibnall to sort there, and whether he does or not, I have to say there are a small minority that will never accept that. That's fine, fair enough. But the majority of fans are going to move on with RTD, and that's the thing. It's a fresh start, basically, and that's what it needs, and that's what the fandom needs. We need to get away from all of this. It's give the man a chance. If you cast a bloke, man, give him a chance, because for some years that's what you are waiting on. Support him. He needs it. We need to watch, give him a chance, give him the benefit of the doubt, see what he does. Because Lee will tell you he has said some things that has made Lee's head turn, but we won't get into that. But he has said some things that have kind of made us go, oh, hang on there. But in saying that, Doctor Who, he understands the show, and that's the difference. He might say things publicly and do things, but when it comes to Doctor Who, he understands the Doctor, he understands the show, and he understands because he's a proper fan. Chris Chibnall, to me, I'm going to be honest, Chris Chibnall was the first Karen in the fandom, basically. He was the first activist in this fandom, the way he carried himself. He wasn't, I honestly can say this, I don't think he actually was a fan. I think if you look at him, he was an ugly bastard growing up, so he probably didn't fit in and looked for somewhere to fit in. And he found this little show, Doctor Who, where people would accept him. That's the thing about it, they accepted him. Then he became this, whatever he did within that fandom, became powerful, became the leader of this organisation.
I would say Chris Chibnall was the original Not My Doctor. Because when you see him in that interview when he was a kid, slagging off
Pip and Jane Baker.
He would have been one of us.
He's the original. He's the original, they might say.
I bet he didn't like Colin Baker,
Yeah, he's the original, you might say. But with that, I'm going to leave it there because I've got to bring Ted down. It's nearly 12 o'clock. But what we'll do is we'll do channel shoutouts. But look, I'm glad we had this chat at the end of the stream. As you know, we always have a bit of a chat. I'll try not to have the chat at the start of the stream because then it takes us ages to start. But we're getting better at that, as you're saying. We actually started almost straight away. So we like to have the chat at the end. But give us your thoughts and opinions, guys. As I said, New Era is not too far away. 60th is not too far away if you think about it. It's something to look forward to. There's light at the end of the tunnel, at least for that episode anyway. We don't know what Series 14 will be like, but at least for the 60th, we'll get something that we're familiar with maybe, and something spectacular that we'll be able to get behind and enjoy. And if the 60th ends up being the last thing that a lot of us watch, let's just say, well, at least we went out on a high. Because I know we'll go out on a high with RTD anyway. And I wish RTD the best of luck in all these endeavours, and I hope the show is a success again. And that's all we've ever wanted. We just want to love Doctor Who again. I've hated these last 5 years, and I want to put them behind me, and I will as soon as this era starts, because I'm not going back to that place again. If RTD does the exact same as Chibnall, I'm gone anyway. As I said, I'm not continuing to talk and bash a show that I grew up with and actually saved me life. I'm done. Can't do it anymore. I had to do it this time round because it needed to be done. Because if we didn't stand up to these people, I actually believe, and maybe Lee will agree with me here, I think the fandom, even though it is in a very pretty bad state, I think it'd be worse if there wasn't people like myself and Lee and others out there that stood up to these people and gave it back to them and told them that they were talking shite, because that's all they've done for the last
Well, they
5
just
years.
expected to win over us, and we just said no.
No,
And they
just
didn't
like the
that.
Ukrainians. Just
Yeah.
like the Ukrainians. Up the Ukrainians. And by the way, for a superpower like Russia, I just want to say to Putin, you're a laughing stock, mate.
Yeah.
Right? Ukrainians don't even have half the army that you have, and they're making a show of you. They've resisted you, and long may it continue, because people like you, we've learned from history. Men like you, I can't believe I'm actually saying this
Yeah.
about you,
Independence of Ukraine.
but men like you deserve one thing, and I can't say that over this stream, but I hope the people of Ukraine stand firm, stand strong, and just know that people all around the world right now are supporting and protesting at this unjust war. And what a evil, I can't believe I'm actually saying this about him though, but what, because I never saw this coming, but what an evil son of a bitch. You have no right to do what you're doing. No right. And to see that Ukrainian president, when the British and the Americans said to him, right, we're getting you out of here because we don't want you to be basically killed. He was like, no.
I want ammunition.
Understand.
I don't want to ride. I don't want to ride or something. He says, I'm staying here basically. And
Yeah.
that's
No,
defiance. That's a true
I want
leader.
arms, not a
By
ride.
the way, if that was Boris Johnson, trust me, he'd be in a bunker somewhere.
He'd be on the other
because
side of the
he'd
world
run.
by now.
Right,
Yeah.
right. If this was any other country, right, including the States, by the way, because they put Biden in the bleeding bunker as well, right? This man is standing up for democracy. Now, listen, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that Ukraine has been totally democratic, because they do have their problems as a country. But right now, that all has to be put aside, because this man is a hero. He is a hero. No matter what's happened in the past, what he is doing now is what matters. He's standing for something that he believes in, and he stands in something that's true. And as an Irishman, I understand exactly where this man is coming from, and I can tell you, the Irish people are behind you 100%. I just wish, it escalated, but I just wish that maybe you could get a bit of help, because I do think sanctions and all of these other things are not going to work in the long run. It's going to be left down to the Ukrainians, unfortunately, to win this. But so far, they've embarrassed Putin, and this Russian army is supposed to be great. Well, I can tell you, they're a laughing stock, a bunch of fucking fishermen bleeding scared the shit out of you, Irish fishermen. And now you think, this is the thing. The Russians are just as arrogant as the Americans. It happens with superpowers. They get arrogant, but they're being made a show of. And you know what? Sending in arms is a good thing to help them. But I wish there was something more that governments of the world could do, send in armies. But of course, if that happened, unfortunately, if we did that, it would escalate, and we can't have an escalation. Now, I do believe that the Russians, because they know they're losing, they're trying to get this man alone, basically. You know what happened, JFK. Let's just leave it there. This is what I think the Russians want to do to this man. But he must stand firm. And you know what? The fact that he's out in the streets and he's doing videos and he's addressing the nation is just... That's a hero. That's a modern day. I hate to make the comparison, because Michael Collins truly was a hero, right? But he's in the same ilk as that man. He's willing to die for his country. Tell me something. right? Because I know my Prime Minister, as Taoiseach we call him here, but for Brits, you call him the Irish Prime Minister. But would our Prime Minister stay and
Why is he in
defend
the
his
tea
country?
shop?
No, he wouldn't. Would Boris Johnson stay and defend his country? Would he be on the front line? No, he wouldn't. Right? Name any leader out there right now that would do what this man is doing. There's not one. There's not one. There's not one leader. And this is what makes him great. But I hope after this, and they do win, he truly leads their country to full democracy, because they still do have their problems in Ukraine. It's not as bad as Russia, but they still do have problems in the country. But he is doing the right thing. You defend your country, you defend your people, and fair play to the people. And I know he is kind of stopping men from leaving the country, which I don't necessarily agree with, but I can understand why he's doing it. Because if they go, the country will fall. And right now they're holding firm. Remember, Russia should have took Kiev 2 days ago.
Yeah.
They still haven't taken Kiev because of what the Ukrainian soldiers are doing. Every single one of those soldiers that are dying for their country are heroes and should be treated like heroes. We don't want this. I hate even talking about this because I hate war. I'm not a pacifist. When it comes to the fight, if you have to fight, I believe you should.
Yeah.
And this is one of these defining moments in history. We let Putin do this unchallenged. If the Ukrainians had he would have took over Ukraine, and then all the countries surrounding Ukraine, he would have done exactly what Germany done back in it started in the 1940s when the invasion actually officially started, but obviously he
Late
took over in
30s,
38 or something, but you know what I'm talking about. It'll be history repeating itself. But this won't be like World War One and World War Two. This will be worse than the two wars put together, because this is a total different warfare that we're dealing with now. Right? They can literally sit at home on computers now and literally blow up cities. Right? Because they're flying drones and all of that. They don't necessarily need men on the ground. This is Putin. And by the way, just to let you know, to make the situation even worse. So the North Korean dictator, he launched a ballistics missile there just the other day. So now he's starting to flex his feckin' muscles. Is he looking at this whole thing with Russia now and thinking, well, maybe I should start something up now? See, this is the whole thing about this West Taiwan. This is why, that's what I mean. This is why this situation is dangerous and needs to be fucking dealt with ASAP. Because he's another fucking mad lunatic over there. And if he gets itchy feet and decides that he wants to be part of something and then starts his own fucking war, right? And then you might have other leaders out there that are thinking, well, we've wanted to start a war and this one, let's start the war. And then before you know it, then dominoes fall and it's a fucking world war. But by the way, there'll be no survivors this time. There'll be no survivors, because you know what will happen when a country is losing and they know that they've nothing else to lose. They'll press that fucking button, and that's the end of it. It's gone. Game over. Right? We'll be lucky if the human race can survive this.
All over again. If I can't win, I want to win.
Yeah, this is why we need this to be sorted now. So Ukraine, stand strong, stay firm. I watched the earth cams. That's what I've been doing the last few nights, man. Been sitting up, watching the skies of Ukraine, because I'm watching people. And you know what? The mad thing I will say about it is that even though all of that shit is going on, there's still people getting on with their lives. These Ukrainian people are just...
Well, they're a tough bunch.
They're a tough bunch of people, and you know what? They had to be. But I can understand that as an Irishman, because trust me, I know what it's like for my country to be under threat. But that's in the past. It's at least our two countries. We managed to kind of, well, not put our differences aside totally. Obviously, the Irish and the UK still do have their problems.
Yeah.
But if you look at it the way it was 900 years ago, it's a completely different situation now. We can coexist and we get on. And the British and Irish people are actually very similar. That's the thing. I think
Yeah.
that's why we rub each other up the wrong way. We're so similar and so alike. I don't think we like that as Irish people. I don't think the Brits like that, especially the English, as you know, being compared to Irish people. That's just the way it is. But we've learned to put our differences aside. There's peace up in the north. Yeah, it's fragile right now at the moment, but there's peace there. If we can do it, if our country can do it, you know, the rest of the world. I think when Northern Ireland happened, there was a lot of optimism. You know, well, if they can have peace in Northern Ireland after all that bloodshed, well, maybe there will be peace in the Middle East and all of this. And people were talking about peace everywhere. But unfortunately, it's not, you know, unless you have both sides or all sides willing to work together, which they did in Ireland, it's not going to work. And unfortunately, there are a few countries out there like Russia that have self-interests. And Russia is not doing this to protect people from genocide, by the way, the bullshit that he's been coming out with. This is a pure and simple invasion. He got Crimea. I can never say it properly. Crimea, right? He annexed that already. That was his plan, right? His plan is to annex all those little towns and cities around that side. And then what happens then? Once he has control of them, they're under Russian control then, he can move these Russian forces in even further. And then before you know it then, full-scale invasion. And that's what I believe will happen. Because I'm being honest, the Ukrainians are holding strong right now. But unless something else happens, they will fall. Because the Russian army, their capabilities are just far more superior. Right now on the ground, the difference is that the Russian army, unless they haven't been training in years, that's what it seems like to me. But on the ground, they're being annihilated. And the Spasnez, by the way, if you watched Deadliest Warrior years ago, do you remember that show, Deadliest Warrior?
Yeah.
Well, the IRA were up against the Taliban. They beat the Taliban, and then for the series finale, he brought back all the winners and to find the ultimate winner. And in the final, it was between the IRA and the Russian Spasnez, wherever you call them, right? Yeah, but we were never defeated, by the way, but they were, right? And now they're being made a show of right now. So I was actually saying to myself, imagine if they'd done Deadliest Warrior now, because the IRA lost that battle, by the way, which I disagreed with. Because like we literally trained every fucking soldier that's out there. So I don't know how we'd lose if we're training everybody. But there you go. We got beaten. We got beaten by them. But if you imagine if we'd done it now, we'd annihilate them now. There's literally footage of them going into supermarkets in the Ukraine because their supplies are low. Like they've only been at war for 3 days and they've already ran out of supplies. They're screwed. They're screwed. The ground. If they remain on the ground, Russia will lose this war, right? And I think Putin knows that. He's already talking about the future soldiers of the country now. He's already done a speech where he's trying to influence the young people now to join the army to fight, because he's looking seriously.
Their Gen Zs are like ours.
I don't know what's happened to them,
much.
but it's like this pandemic he's flipped, right?
Yeah.
Listen, we all knew that Putin could do that at any time, but he never did. He always pushed the US and pushed the buttons of Europe because he was always looking for something, right? He was always trying to make the situation better for Russia. Everything he's ever done up until this point has always been for the benefit of Russia. This is the one time where he hasn't done something that's the benefit of Russia, because even his own people are out protesting. Now they're being dragged into prison and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's illegal to protest, but they're even protesting. And Russians all around the world, even in Dublin, were protesting outside the embassy. Sure, a lot of people are being thrown red paint on their. Listen, it's not the Russian people's fault. I hear a lot of people like slagging Russian people off and saying, yeah, Russian scum and all of this. I'm sorry, I disagree. Right? It's not the people's fault. We had the IRA here, but it wasn't every Irish person's fault. Same up in the north, they had the UVF and all of these other organisations, but it wasn't all those people up there in the north, right? Catholics and Protestants in general up in the north were actually kind of getting on. It was only the fanatics, the extremists that hated each other, and then they take out a few Catholics here, and then the IRA would retaliate, and then vice versa. That's what happened. I just don't get this. I don't know why it's happening. Well, I do know why it's happening. He wants a full-blown invasion, but I don't know what the end game is or what he thinks he's going to get out of this, because all he has done now is he's made Russia will never be forgiven after this. This is the thing. Nobody's going to trust Russia even after Putin's gone, because every leader, world leader, whoever it is at the time, will think that the Russians are up to something now. This is what he's done. He's actually made the situation for his own people worse. The sanctions, this is why I kind of don't agree with sanctions, but at the end of the day, I kind of understand why they're a necessary tool. But you're punishing the people. You're punishing the people. People are starving in Russia as well. Remember, we don't talk about that too often anymore. But remember, the people in Russia are struggling for money as well. It's not as bad as North Korea, obviously, but people in Russia are not as free as we are, and don't have the money that we have either, and struggle. Yeah, look, I'm not saying nobody here struggles. We all struggle, if you know what I mean. But they're struggling worse than we are. We don't see that. Putin's very smart. He keeps all of that out of the media. He knows what he's doing. Remember, all of these countries like North Korea, Russia, they have their own state media. So, they control the narrative. And you do as well, and RTE here, so I can't even speak either. See, even my country has its own.
That news even has a red background.
Media.
I need to go because
I'm pissing off as well. But look, listen, guys, I'll leave on a positive note anyway. Look, there's one thing
nukes are coming. Okay.
The one thing I will say is that we as human beings are very resilient, right? And the people of Ukraine are showing us what resilience looks like. I do believe that there will be a positive outcome, but it won't be due to the fact that Ukraine will beat Russia. It'll be because the powers that be will have to come up with a different plan, and they won't put troops on the ground because they can't do that anyway. But they will figure something out, and it will force Russia into submission. But they need to do it fast and find that solution quick, because the longer this goes on, the worse it gets. So I'll get the lads to do their channel shout outs anyway, and we'll leave it there. And I'll be back all next week now. There'll be random streams, random times. So just bear with me until I get me all sleeping pattern back together. But Lee, you go first because you have to head.
You can follow me on Twats at Being Problem. You can find my VFX channel, Aldred Audio Visual.
Thank you very much, Lee. And what are you doing tonight that you have to go in a hurry?
It's called eating.
Same here. I've got some lovely steak
and
to eat.
Sleeping.
Okay. PD.
Yes.
PD.
You can find me in Rabbi's chat, as we all know, but you can also find me sometimes on Mondays with Dave Travels Through Time. We're doing Star Trek Voyager tomorrow, and there's an open invite there if you want to come with us, and I'll join in.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. That's this week, isn't it? What time is that at? UK time?
I don't know. Sometime from 8 to about 7 to 9 he normally goes. I don't know. It depends. I'll ask him.
Yeah, ask him for me and then let me know. Yeah, are you doing Caretaker first episode?
We're doing Voyager. No, we're not watching it. We're just talking about Voyager.
Oh, we're just talking
Voyager
about
season 1 to 7. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because I'm a Voyager fan. Yeah. I'll come on to that. Yeah. Just send me the time then. All right.
Okay, will do.
Right, and you know where to find me. And by the way, thank you to the people that resubscribed after being booted, because my subscriber count's gone back up again. YouTube again, typical monthly purge. But just make sure that you're still subscribed. So I'll leave it there. I'll talk to you all tomorrow. Have a good one. Stay safe.
Yep.
Look after yourselves. And remember, never back down from a fight. Especially if you know you're in the right. Yeah. Right, good night. Love to Ukraine and its people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
same
night,
as.
everyone. Good
Night.
night. Ukraine.
Bye.
Bye.